Yeah, I'll pause when I hear a point that's made, and I think I can expand on. Maybe I'll speed it. We won't speed it up. We'll just.
Just a quick note. I want this to be a civil debate because right now there's a massive Zionist campaign to generate as much hostility between Muslims and Christians as possible.
Wait, what? That's a claim? Is Andrew just going to let him get away with that one, or I don't understand where they get this one from. Don't say that in Hassan's chat. He'll like try to kill you. Like, there's a Zionist campaign to do this. Like, can you define Zionist for me, please? Good Lord.
If I can say something nice about Andrew, I respect him for not being a shill for Israel. I think we can be civil, but also very critical of each other's religions without it turning vicious. The only ones who benefit from a Muslim-Christian civil war right now is Israel, which is stoking hate so that they can continue their genocide of both Muslim and Christian Palestinians while they bleed America dry.
Okay, how long into this are we technically? Like less than a minute in, and I'm already like, oh no, I don't like what the point this guy's making right off the bat. It's just like, so it really is though, and what bothers me about it is more the case that if it's just that is a freeze frame, by the way. My goodness, look at that face. But like, so let's say that his actual objection is like sending money to Israel or to like, yeah, for real, my sleep paralysis demon. Anyway, it's like, so if they don't like sending money to Israel, that's one thing, right? But to say this country shouldn't exist, it's like, well, that was not decided by me or anyone else. I'm kind of with I guess the JD Vance stance, where it's like, they are an ally, just like any other ally. They are an ally. I don't know. It's like, if we get some kind of good trade deal out of it, I don't see any reason not to maintain the relationship. But it's also like this, the whole Zionist conspiracy and stuff like that. I just don't understand why people buy into that so much and then say it so often. And then when people like call them out on it, they get so mad and call you a defender of X, Y, or Z, when in reality, you're just like, I just don't get the hate. Yeah, like, if you don't want to fund them, that's fine. I can respect that argument. Wanting to eradicate the state of Israel, no. How about that? Oh yeah, but that's like the George Soros types, and like you can put that one on the individual level. You don't have to collectivize everything. Like all the Jews are the same as George Soros. It's like, no, they're not. I don't know. Yeah, but it's like, to me, your country has a right to exist if you can defend it. But people don't like that. If you can stake your claim and you can defend your claim, the land is yours. Yeah. Or if it's bought legally, it's like, well, yeah, now it's up to you to steward the land. Stewardship is the claim. So if you can't steward it, then it doesn't really belong to you, which they did steward it. So yeah, that to me is enough to indicate a right to exist. Oh, well, let's continue.
Let's keep that larger context in mind. So the first slide, which is best for society, Islam or Christianity? Next slide. The answer depends on which standard we use to judge, traditional or secular liberal.
False dichotomy detected. Traditional values are not universal across Christianity and Islam. They are very different. That is a false dichotomy. Like, for real. Which values do you like better? Traditional or secular liberal? Well, depends on what you mean by traditional. And there are multiple branches of traditional, because there's like traditional Taoist, traditional Buddhist, traditional Taoist. All three of those are very different. Traditional Native American, traditional like Caribbean. None of these, it's like that. Putting both of those under two umbrellas is it's a false dichotomy. Yeah, Papua New Guinea. Yeah, something like that. And I'm just like sitting here thinking to myself, what? Traditional values, as if all traditional values are the same traditional values. There's a very big distinction between like even Jewish ethics and Christian ethics. They're not the same. So to put them under the same categories, I think that's a category error. Interesting rhetorical tactic. Very bad shorthand. Naughty. Don't do that. Bad debate tactic.
The answer depends on which standard we use to judge, traditional or secular liberal values. Traditional values include belief in God, prayer, marriage, and gender roles.
Okay. So he's doing the Venn diagram thing where he's basically saying, here's where we overlap. Which faith is better at enforcing these? Gotcha. Heresy. Heretics. Then the Inquisition, brother.
Opposition to degeneracy and commitment to nation and shared.
Define degeneracy, please. We are not the same.
Culture. Secular liberal values include individual freedom, gender equality, sexual autonomy, scientific progress, and economic advancement. If we judge by traditional values, Islam beats Christianity hands down. If we judge by secular liberal values, Christianity comes out on top. The reason for this is that Christianity, since the Enlightenment, has been reformed and adopted liberal values while eroding traditional ones. This is because Christianity is more open to evolving in a way that Islam isn't. My opponent...
What? Blaming Protestants as usual? Yeah, no, for real though. It's like, yes, the Protestants, they eroded traditional values. And it's like, well, no, it's really more people eroded traditional values. Like, what? My word. This is actually kind of painful. Like this, it's just an assertion, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean that was back with what, indulgences, and just a really, really awkward time for the Catholic Church. Because before that, they had the schism between the Orthodox and the Catholic, and then it kept breaking up. It's all like doctrinal things, and then you could buy sin forgiveness. Basically, it was like a bad patch. Like the balance patch for the faith was not very good right then. Like we have these doctrinal things, but then we don't do any. Okay, moving on.
Andrew Wilson claims to be a traditional Christian, but we'll see if he'll debate like a traditional Christian or like a blue-haired libtard. If he debates as a traditional Christian, he should defend Christianity. He should defend Christianity as understood before modern liberal reforms. For example, it's funny. Even though he's Orthodox, I doubt he'll defend Byzantine Orthodox norms, such as theocratic monarchy, the monarch's authority to define church doctrine, slavery, book bans and speech restrictions, death penalties for blasphemy, apostasy, and pagan worship, restrictions and bans on loaning money with interest, minimum marriage age of 12, bans on divorce, mandatory...
Okay, hang on a second. I can see, obviously, yeah, no, for real. For real. But like, so the theocratic monarchy, Andrew would back that up. Monarch authority to define church doctrine by appointing bishops. To an extent, I actually think he would back that one up too. Slavery, boy, howdy, is that one? Oh, I'm foreshadowing without knowing it. I did not pre-watch this, I swear. I've seen bits and pieces. But so slavery, well, here's the thing, right? That's not in the New Testament as allowed. That's an Old Testament thing, right? And it's like every 7 years. It was more like indentured servitude in the Bible. It wasn't like chattel slavery or anything like that. So if you were behind on money or something like that, or if you owed a debtor a lot, you could do that instead of paying them back and kind of just earn your keep, so to speak. So this is all like, well, he's talking about like the Byzantine Empire, right? Which is post-Roman collapse. I think that would be the Eastern Roman Empire at the time. And so you had Constantinople as where the church stood. Yeah, I don't know. It's like he's not asking him to defend the church. He's asking him to defend the Byzantine Empire's practices, which were still sort of distinct, you know? So false equivalence, I guess. Moving on.
For a veiling of women with unveiled women labeled as prostitutes, lashes for fornicators,
it really
punishing
does.
Married adulterers by cutting off noses or sewing them into sacks and burning them alive, execution for homosexual acts, limits on Jews through bans on Jewish proselytizing and building new synagogues. If we look at a timeline of Christianity, for 1700 years, Christianity upheld its pre-modern norms of slavery, female subordination, monarchy, punishments for blasphemy, executions for adultery, modern feminism. Even though he's a...
Where did he get this timeline? I don't know what history this guy's living in. My goodness. Please tell me Andrew calls him out on all this, because this is like, oh man. Oh, this is painful. Yeah, it really was, though. Right. He was executed in the most shameful way possible. He didn't have to. What, the moderator get him on it? Or did the audience just kind of go, I smell an anathema? Or does Andrew immediately go to, don't pork your cousins? Immediately into the incest domain. Super hot take. Incest is bad. And you defend it. Oh no. Good Lord.
Conservative, Andrew already accepts huge chunks of this liberal reform. He's fine with abolishing slavery, rejecting monarchy, ending blasphemy, and adultery punishments. His conservatism simply draws an arbitrary line at a later stage, roughly 1950s America. But libtard progressives follow that same reform trajectory, just a few stages or steps further. Andrew isn't defending traditional Christianity, he's defending his preferred arbitrary stopping point on a progressive path he already agrees with. In other words, the difference between him and the libtards is quantitative, not qualitative. Just a dispute over where to halt the same ongoing cucking to secular liberalism. So Andrew's conservatism is not principled, it's arbitrary. Given this, I predict Andrew will debate like a blue-haired libtard today and use a pro-liberal strategy against Islam. Because again, Christianity can't beat Islam on traditional values for the simple reason that Islam isn't amenable to reform the way Christianity is. So he'll likely attack.
This is just ahistorical nonsense. Islam has had many reforms over history, a lot of doctrinal changes, and believe it or not, the most recent version is a regress. It's not even a regress to like original doctrine either. It's a regress specifically to a version that prevented the golden age of Islam. Yeah, exactly. It's reformed several times. And so like this guy thinks he's got the values of Saladin. He does not. He's got like the values of Osama bin Laden. He's not doing great. Already setting up a bad precedent here. Yeah. So you just let's assume no one else knows the history of Islam here, I guess. Okay.
Islam exactly like a blue-haired alphabet person would by calling Islam backwards on marriage, gender roles, and scientific and economic progress. But if Andrew attacks Islam using secular liberal values, he faces a dilemma. Because tomorrow he's debating an atheist on whether Christianity or secular liberalism is better for society. So any pro-liberal standard that Andrew uses to judge Islam today, tomorrow that same liberal standard can be used by his atheist opponent to judge Christianity. For example, if he says Christianity is better than Islam because it gives women more rights and promotes more scientific progress and helps, the atheist can argue that secular liberalism does even more of those things. Andrew knows this, so against the atheist tomorrow, he'll likely revert back to a...
Can I just summarize his claim real quick? Because this is getting on my nerves. Basically, he's saying Andrew is going to have an unmoored position and he can't argue in good faith because whatever he does right now is going to shift the goalpost later. That is definitely straw manning, and it's actually a tuquoquy. I don't speak French. Saying, yes, he's going to change his position based off of whatever. Great. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So this guy's argument is already just rough. It's really rough. It doesn't feel like good faith. It feels, what's the word? I don't want to call him bad faith. It's more like unintelligent. Like he doesn't understand debate. At least not in the sort of searching for truth, you know? Thinks it's like a time to do propaganda as opposed to argue your point. So he's already built like this massive straw man. Keep your cards hidden. Yeah, right. And he's attributing a lot to Andrew before the debates even started. You know, like, here are your things. Oh my word. This is already getting on my nerves. These bots though, I swear. Bonk. Yep. Definitely annoying, but we'll figure it out later.
Traditional Christian stance, highlighting issues like LGBT, incest, and low birth rates. I'm not singling out Andrew. All Christian debaters code switch. They know Christianity isn't as based as Islam on traditional values, nor as progressive as secularism on liberal values. Christianity is stuck in the middle between traditionalism and secularism. So to win against either Islam or secularism, Christians have...
What? I'm confused. that claim doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'm like, huh? You can have a consistent grounding and argue different based off the audience. It just depends on like framing as well as what points you're arguing. It's not about. I mean, geez, that's okay. Oh, oh, hang on, that's an Asmongold video.
Have no choice but to code switch depending on who they're debating. Putting aside this conceptual problem with Christian apologetics, how do we know that Islam is better for society than Christianity? Again, it depends on what values we adopt. Muslim and Christians generally subscribe to traditional values. In fact, all humans, due to biology, inherently value things like belief in a creator, marriage, family, and community. So let's see whether Islam or Christianity.
Yeah, I'm also very much want to. Man, if this was a forum setting, I would have interjected here with a bit of an interruption, right? I would have been like, okay, hang on. You are arguing that, X, Y, and Z factors, right? He's saying, we want traditional values. Like, that's just one huge umbrella that captures everything that falls under it. It's not. And yeah, it's like, I'd be taking notes and being like, trying to address them in my counter, but I would actually surrender my opening argument and just be like, answer a few questions for me. Like that's how bad faith this feels. My goodness. And it's like to win, you have to change. It's like, no, winning is not about that. It's about just that's Twitter brain right there. Yeah, I know. It actually bothers me. A lot of historical revisionism going on.
Christianity is better at promoting these things in society using the abundance of empirical data available. Let's start with a bird's eye view using the World Values Survey, a global project measuring beliefs, values, and cultural changes in over 100 countries. Their world cultural map from 2023 groups countries by religion. Protestant European countries are yellow, Orthodox is red, European Catholics are green, Latin America in light blue, and Islamic countries in gray. On the x-axis, countries that value individual self-expression and autonomy are further right on the graph. On the y-axis, countries that are more secular are higher up. The ones that have more traditional values are lower.
Okay.
So you can see in the bottom left, there are the Islamic countries that are more.
I'm confused. Survival versus self-expression values. If you are forced to maintain survival values, your society is in a very, very, very bad place. Think of it like this. If I have the privilege to decide I am going to be X, and I don't starve to death the next day, is that not evidence of flourishing? Just a thought. Like, yes, tolerating degeneracy is really not a great thing, but when it says survival versus self-expression, I know, it's like you're highlighting Egypt as a prime example of this, what do you call it, like survival ethics combined with traditional. He's trying to say that you get away from secular values the more you value survival over self-expression. It's like self-expression I don't think is the issue here, and to conflate the two is actually kind of dishonest. So going over this is like, oh my word. Yeah, I mean, good grief. It is a conflation though. Like that it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to process what his argument is here, and if you put me in a survival situation, right, and say it's just what you have to do to get by, like hunting, trapping, fishing, all that, like that's survival situation. You don't have like set shelter, you don't have the ability to raise family comfort. And then you're saying that self-expression is diametrically opposed to that. It's like, no, you're more free to self-express when you don't have to focus on survival, which leads to people making decisions that would otherwise not align with survival values. Traditional values are more conducive to survival, but they are not mutually exclusive. All right. Just had to get that out of the way. My goodness.
More traditional, whereas the Christian countries are more secular and value individual autonomy. How about belief in God? Muslim countries show higher religiosity and belief in God than Christian ones. For example, Pew Research asked people in different countries if they believe in God. For nearly all the Muslim countries, the number was 100%, to such an extent that Pew concluded that nearly all Muslims surveyed believe.
Yeah, but here's another thing, right? If 100% of people believe that there is a God, there is probably a death penalty in saying that you don't. Think about that for a second. Just saying.
In God. Another Pew data set shows Muslim countries, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, at the top of global belief rankings, while Christian countries are split with Kenya, Ghana, and the Philippines high, but the US, Spain, and France low. What about religiosity? On this map, all Muslim countries are dark purple, showing the largest share of religious followers.
Apostate clause. All right, you may continue.
Christian countries, except Latin America, are much lower, like the US, Europe, and Russia. Pew studied how important religion is to people's lives. And for Muslim countries, they're dark yellow, indicating 80 to 100% of people saying religion is very important to them, while most Christian countries are much lower in gray and blue. The 2024 Integrated Values Survey confirms this. In majority Muslim countries like Indonesia and Egypt, over 97% say religion is very important, whereas in Christian countries like Mexico, the US, Russia, and Germany, religion matters far less.
Okay, and you can have a value structure without mandating a religion. It's like, what? Minus 3%. That's funny to me. Up those numbers, though. Yeah, true. But I mean, at the same time, it's like coercive faith versus, what do they call it? It's like invite. I can't remember. Coercive versus welcoming. You want to welcome people in, not threaten them in. You know what I mean? Let's not try to scare people in here. You know, it's a strange point to make to me, just because I guess I don't see the value structure he's proposing as the end all be all. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, look at China. And they're about to face one of the worst population crises of all times. I mean, yeah, the closer you are to replacement, the higher your religiosity is usually. That's fine. Yeah, knows what ultimatum is. Believe or else. Because I think there is a death penalty for apostasy in all the countries listed that he cares about. But yeah, no, I'm just, if anything, he's showing that communism really, really hurts religiosity. Or actually, there's a direct correlation here, if you want to use his logic, right, between declining birth rates and lower religion overall, right? And we look at the communist countries, and suddenly it all makes a lot more sense. Anywhere that's extremely leftist is going to have lower birth rates. But that's a tenuous connection at best. Like, there's no objective thing. That's just like a pattern trend. Whatever. Do research as well.
Is religious switching. Pew shows Christianity in red has the largest net loss of followers, while Islam in green has the highest net gain from conversions.
Conquest.
We're, pretty behind on the slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Now let's look at family and gender roles. Muslim societies have higher rates of marriage than Christian societies. Notice how the percentage of marriage...
What does this graph look like is drawn with, like, someone on a Wacom? Shaky hand. Oh my goodness. It looks so bad. This graph looks so bad. It'll be important later. Yep. Oh my goodness. Getting married younger. Is that what this argument is? Like, the age of marriage and all that? But he's pointing to Christian women as getting married older more often. Oh my goodness. It just starts higher. Well, it starts way higher. Hold on. Right there. Look at that. Age of 15. 15. What?
Married individuals of both Muslim women and men, indicated by the red and blue arrows, is higher than Christians, since Christians are more likely to delay or forego marriage. We can also look at divorce laws. Christian countries... Hold
on. Going back for a second. The tangent curve here at like 17 for, I think it looks like Muslim women. That is insane. What's even funnier to me, though, look at that over here compared to the age range of Muslim men. It's so weird. Okay.
Christians are more likely to delay or forego marriage. We can also look at divorce laws. Christian countries mostly allow no-fault divorce, while Muslim countries often have fault-based divorce or other limitations on women. When it comes to fertility, Pew Research shows that Muslims are at 2.9 globally, whereas Christians are at 2.6. And even when you break it down by region, Muslims in Europe, the Asia Pacific, and Sub-Saharan Africa have more children than their Christian counterparts. Muslims also have the largest families by household size, at 6.4 members per household compared to 4.5 for Christians. Due to both higher birth rate and higher net conversions, Islam is the fastest growing religion projected to meet
those Epstein files kind of show that, don't they?
25 to 50 years. How about sexual behaviors? Research in American Sociological Review show Muslims, due to religious conviction, are less likely to have premarital or extramarital sex than Christians.
They get married
Some
at
Christians
like 5.
Might claim this is only due to self-reporting bias, because Muslims are less likely to admit to engaging in these behaviors. But we can account for this by benchmarking against other variables, like medical abortions and death rate from HIV/AIDS, which directly correlate with extramarital sex. Data shows abortion rates are highest in Christian regions, and death from AIDS are highest in Christian countries in Africa, Russia, and Latin America, but lowest in North Africa, the Middle East, and other Muslim regions.
It looks like Saudi Arabia is the same as the US there.
Pew shows Christian countries are far more accepting, even after controlling for economic factors.
The fact Turkey has any is kind of funny to me.
Towards gender equality, World Value Survey asked whether men make better leaders than women. Do men have more of a right to a job than women, etc.? They took the answers to these questions to create a grading system which shows that Muslims are far below Christians. Now, if we were a bunch of liberal simps, we would count this in favor of the Christians. But since we're all red-pilled, we recognize that the Muslim countries are based and the Christians are simping. Same when it comes to other gender equality metrics. Christian countries, whether in the West or Latin America, Russia, value gender equality more than Muslims. That's a bad thing for many reasons. Looking at other societal health metrics, research shows Christian countries have much higher rates of alcohol and drug abuse. Controlling for economic differences, Muslim countries have
just kind of confused at this point. Like, why are we going over this?
Fish's book, Are Muslims Distinctive?
He hasn't explained how this is better for society as a whole.
In Muslim countries,
these are like wedge issues.
Rates are also lower. Rates of rape and sexual violence are likewise lower in Muslim countries.
Hold on. They're also not reported. Just saying. Like that's kind of a huge factor. Yeah, and also if we count all the marriages under the age of 16, then that kind of skyrockets, doesn't it? Just saying.
And highest in Christian countries. Multiple studies show that the suicide rate for Muslims is much lower than Christian.
I so want to contest this because of a very, very common military tactic they use. Yeah, exactly. It's like, how much of this is reported and taken seriously? Who's recording the numbers? This is just a case of I don't believe statistics, because hacking is a very real thing that happens all the time. And I've looked up that stat. He's actually right. It's kind of crazy. My goodness. All right.
These stats show how Islam outperforms Christianity in upholding religion, marriage, family, and community, making Islam better for society. We can examine why Islam consistently excels in these areas. First, Muslims are much more attached to religion than Christians because Islam is more compelling and intuitive.
I don't care what reason he's about to say. Apostasy law.
Than Christianity. For example, monotheism is easier to grasp than the Trinity. Islam is also more historically preserved.
What? Hey. Better preserved? It's newer. I mean, and also, guess who was going through a bit of a persecution phase for most of its history? Like, for real, dude? That's what you're going to go with? We have better preservation. Yep. This is, it's like finding a lens in the desert and some special magical rocks, and then translating using those lenses. And wait a minute, that's a different thing. Never mind. Sharia is a comprehensive system. Okay, hold on. It's comprehensive because it's draconian. It's better at preventing crime. True, but I like having both hands and not being able to lose one on accusation alone. Yeah, it's actually, and going through everything that happened, it was that's true, and it spread to the Gentiles. I just don't understand. It's like religious texts better preserved. Okay, that's not even the one I'm getting hung up on though. It's like more theologically intuitive. What? I no. So dumb. There is no argument here though. It's just claims.
Carbon dating confirms that the Quran Muslims read today traces to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By contrast, the Bible has evolved through layers of editing and reflects the theology of Paul far more than the teachings of Jesus. Islam also better preserves traditional life and family through a clear, comprehensive system of Sharia. Christianity, by contrast, offers only broad,
we also have Aramaic texts as well,
principles that different Christian groups interpret in conflicting and often contradictory ways. A Christian rebuttal could be that even if Islam excels at traditional values, it falls short on secular ones like individual freedom, self-expression, and scientific or economic progress. Christianity, they could argue, wins overall because it blends the best of both worlds, preserving core morals while still enabling the modern achievements of the Christian West: more freedom, science, technology, and higher GDP. This argument has fundamental problems, however. First, is Western prosperity due to Christianity or secularism? For example, how much of Western greatness comes from pre-Christian traditions like Greece and Rome? Furthermore, if Christianity
I'm just letting him continue. I'm not going to pause
why
anymore.
haven't the oldest Christian nations like Ethiopia and Armenia matched the West's success? Likewise,
maybe because they've been surrounded and harassed by countries.
The Philippines have no comparable prosperity. Finally, why do more devoutly Christian societies have higher poverty and violent crime than more secularized Christian ones?
Look at the region they're in. Look at the region they're in. It's so bad faith. Like, I don't like this. Why are you making me watch this? They are in your country, silly. Yeah, exactly. It's like, look at what they're surrounded by. Look at what they're doing. They have civil internal strife. They haven't had this rule of law that other countries. It's like, and the fact that this man can be dismantled by Andrew saying, "Don't pork your cousins," is oof.
Therefore, it's far from clear that Christianity is the secret sauce to scientific and economic progress.
If you want to make this into a video, you can.
Mixing
I'll add you as someone who can post on the YouTube channel.
Works. It's like mixing paint and paint thinner. Whenever societies try to combine traditional and secular values, traditional values get abandoned. This is actually what has happened in the West, which was deeply Christian 200 years ago, but now has become the center of atheism and secular decay. This didn't happen overnight. This happened because Christians 150 years ago tried to mix traditional Christianity with the secular idea of progress. This happens because traditional values are based on duties. Preserving religion requires imposing duties on people to worship. Preserving family requires imposing duties limiting sexual freedom and providing care for children and the elderly. Preserving a nation requires duties to uphold shared norms.
See, I don't even disagree with a lot of this.
Immigration. So preserving traditional values
confused about the conclusion.
Duties. The problem is duties are hard work requiring personal sacrifice. Because of this, duties necessarily restrict individual liberties while also generating inequality and discrimination. This is a problem for secular liberalism, which strives to free people burdened by duties. So the secular liberal system gradually eliminates duties to maximize individual freedom. This is done through two means: moral progress and scientific progress.
Okay, hang on. Is he saying duty and freedom are mutually exclusive? Because you earn freedoms through duty. They're not. They're not, though. You can have a duty to something and still have the freedom to operate within it. It's like, but he's saying he's doing it from traditional. It's like his words are saying one thing and then his arguments are saying another. I don't get it. It's like he's using the worst framing possible to try to. It's not that it's incoherent. It's more like it kind of stumbles over itself. You know what I mean? Because he's arguing from the liberal frame, even though he's presenting as traditional, and then he's using the traditional frame to undermine the liberal. It's all a big straw man. It's like, start from your position, argue from your position, define your terms, and go. Like that's the best way to do this. But the way he's going about it is like, yeah, I wish I wasn't covering him. This guy right there. He's I'm trying to parse out what he's saying, and I just don't understand. Yeah, I have an idea. Yeah, there we go. This works better.
Moral progress means, for example, liberating women by telling them they don't have a moral duty to serve their
Moral progress says you don't have a duty to. What? Am I the problem here? Moral progress would mean like, it depends. It's like, if he's talking about strictly in a secular perspective, then yes, he's actually correct. But if he's talking about from the traditional frame, which is what he is proclaiming to want, then I don't understand.
For husbands. Scientific progress means inventing AI companies for the elderly so that little Bobby doesn't have to spend time talking to grandpa. Usually we think of progress as a good thing, but clearly progress can
What was that AI point? What? But that's not even like scientific progress in the same, like, that is such a narrow wedge of scientific progress. It's like, yes, we're inventing AI so you could ignore your elders. No. Also, that's like a non sequitur if I've ever heard one. My goodness. Just insert random irrelevant factoid. That's like, scientific progress is really more like the invention of the automobile, the telephone, the CAT scan, not AI for avoiding talking to grandpa. So I'm kind of just wondering what this guy's epistemology is here, because it feels like it's implied, which is not good philosophy. So who is this? Hakikachu? Hakikachu? And is Andrew Wilson debating a Pokemon? Oh, right. So I saw some of his shorts, and they are, I don't think I've ever seen so much cope come out of it. But he was in, like, my goodness, unwinnable position. Well, I guess back to it, huh?
Seriously damage society, because if you get rid of duties, this will weaken institutions of religion, family, and nation. The decay has been ongoing in the West since the 18th century, when liberal ideology kickstarted moral and scientific progress. Consequently, yes, the West has the highest GDP, but religion, family, and nation are weak, and people live as atomized individuals pursuing endless pleasure through tech-driven consumption. If you watch tech elites shaping Western society, you'll notice their transhumanist vision, Neuralink AI, etc. This is the logical.
And so he's like, oh man, what's that guy's name? The guy who made Palantir, Peter Thiel. So he's conflating like Peter Thiel with literally everyone else. Like, okay. Yep. Man, I kind of want to get a transcript of this and just break it down and circle everything. Just be like, here's where he's lying to you.
Endpoint of unchecked moral and scientific progress. The question is, which religion can stop this? Christianity has already adopted liberal secularism. And reformed itself by those standards. Even the most conservative Christians, like Andrew, won't take the radical steps needed to turn back the clock 200 years and stop the inevitable transhumanist future. The most radical thing that Andrew calls for is banning.
So his solutions are ban OnlyFans, pray in school, and no trans kids. I mean, yes, but how he got there, I don't like it. his pathing is just off. Like, Christianity can't do this. Like, why not say Christianity hasn't done this? Like, what? Well, I mean, how many Catholic schools allow OnlyFans on campus? How many Catholic schools allow prayer? How many Catholic schools allow trans kids? I don't think he understands that at all. But whatever.
OnlyFans, maybe putting Christians in charge of America's government so that they can ban abortion, trans kids, and introduce public prayer. This won't stop, this won't slow down, let alone stop the freight train speeding humanity toward destruction. Islam, by contrast, offers the Sharia, comprehensive moral and legal framework that governs every dimension of life, individual conduct,
that's what it feels like, for sure.
Community obligations, and social order. It does not merely tweak the secular liberal system, it represents a fundamentally different paradigm, and because Islam preserves a duty-based morality rather than dissolving it, it retains the internal resources to resist the liberal atomization and technological dehumanization.
Thank you very much for
Just
that opening from Daniel.
Yeah, so that last slide is very accurate to how I feel after hearing his arguments. I'm just seeing red. It's like, oh boy. All right. So there is a case to be made for traditional values, true. But is all liberal progress bad? Another question you have to ask. I guess if I was debating this point with like anyone else from a philosophical perspective, it would be different. I guess my eyes aren't right. My model having the moment. It's having a minute. Anyway, so this idea that, like, yeah, I know the debate topic, but it's like there's so many presuppositions going into this that it's like we haven't even established an ontology yet. What is? What is? Which is better for society? And then there's also points that are like, which societies have developed the most technological advancement versus which ones haven't? At what period of Islam have they made the most progress into the scientific fields? Is science good for society? Because the Christian institutions bore out things like physics and chemistry. It was because they allowed for more individual expression. Like you can have theological rigor with and scientific development at the same time. These are not mutually exclusive. Islam did this with arithmetic. Golden Age of Islam is what bore the number system. Our modern number system is from the Golden Age of Islam. So yeah, it's all very different values. And this current version of Islam that a lot of people pretty much know well, or it's very different. Yeah, I know. It's like you had the Baghdad House of Wisdom as a great example during the Islamic Golden Age. And that's where you had things like mathematical development, you had geometry and all this. It's kind of weird to think about all the things that have changed. So, all right, I'm about to About to reset the character again. There we go. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I imagine Andrew's just going to say 3 or 4 words and then be like, all right, 20 minutes to make that opening argument. And my word, I might have to flowchart this.
I've got the timer set for you, Andrew, on your first word.
Good job, man. The fun thing about debate is you get to actually get in the mind of your opponent. What? What happened?
Whoa.
The fun thing about debate is you get to actually get in the mind of your opponent. You get to study and dissect the things that they say and believe. After watching Daniel for hours, a few things became obvious. The first, he's a far better Muslim apologist than I am a Christian apologist, that's for sure. But he's far weaker on politics than myself and the nature of the world. The second is that he's an above-average debater, but he ain't quite God tier. See, if I were Daniel and fighting from his worldview, I'd point out Christianity is fractured and weak, that Christianity is totally incapable of fighting back against the degeneracy of our time. Its impotence has led to social categories of degeneracy at levels nobody could have predicted, especially with the advent of the internet. I would point out Muslim societies don't work that way, that Muslims have feminism and degens under control, that everything in modern-day Christians in the West are fighting for against degeneracy, Islam has already achieved in their lands. That's what I would do if I were Daniel. When talking about which is better for society, Islam or Christianity, this becomes a powerful argument.
Wow.
But I'd go a step further if I were Daniel. I'd also say my opponent will argue like an atheist progressive. That Andrew Wilson, the guy who promotes anti-feminist and egalitarian doctrine, is going to sit up here and act like an egalitarian progressive and cry about Islam being mean to the women and cry about Islam not being very nice to the gays. Well, you were fucking wrong. Sadly for Daniel, while this tactic would normally be effective against a sewing circle Christian, I'm not part of that cast.
Why is this camera shaking?
Now, let me get into my argument for why Christianity makes better societies than Islam, and it's pretty simple. Islamic societies breed an inbred population. Next slide, please. Muslim inbreeding has been occurring at a high rate for about 1,400 years since the early Islamic period, encompassing most of the land still occupied by Islam today. It spread from the 8th to the 15th century, moved into Persia, North Africa, South Asia, where it remains and has created some of the dumbest fucking human beings on planet Earth. The most common type of inbreeding is first cousin marriage. The rates of first cousin marriage in comparison to Christian nations is staggeringly high, even in comparison to regions occupied by Arab Christians. When a nation has both Christians and Muslims, Muslims are often double or higher than Christians. Example, India, Lebanon. Next slide, please. Muslim inbreeding.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Sorry about that. Pakistan at 65%. 65%.
65? 65. That's like higher than a coin toss. What? Why though?
Meaning, more likely than not, you're having sex with your cousin, and if you're not, you're the weird one.
My goodness.
Okay? For the low IQ members of MDD, that means these people are more likely than not having sex with their aunts or uncles' children.
Nope.
Saudi Arabia, 50 to 58%, with an average 76 IQ.
I don't like that.
Fuck it. UAE, 54%, 82 IQ. The crown jewel of the Arab world, you are more likely than not to be banging your first cousin. Iran, 40%.
Oh, that's brutal.
80 IQ. Yemen, 45%, 62.9 IQ. Qatar, 30%, 80.
How do people function at 62 IQ, like as a society, if that's the average? Right? I mean, how do they do anything? Oh, he's baby babbling. They steal. They can't. Yeah. And they resort to piracy, I guess. Oh, Yemen. Grunting. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, wow. Can't even organize it. Yeah, no, for real, though. That's like, I'm feeling a little better about where I sit in the IQ chart now. I might be close to midwit, but man, that's kind of brutal.
8 IQ.
That's the average. Yeah, I know.
Now,
that's the high part of the bell curve.
Continue, right? Oman, 36%, 78. Syria, 39%, 74 IQ. Turkey, 25%, 86 IQ. Jordan, 32%, 80 IQ. Egypt, 32%, 76 IQ. It goes on and on, and it just never
Wait.
gets better. Next slide.
Mauritania is 43%, 99% Muslim is 59.8 IQ. 59.8. What? I'm like trying to conceptualize this, right? Yeah, I know. Who was cooking in there? Like, because that's got to be cooked, right? There's no way. Aurora Borealis. Exactly. Like, what? Am I out of touch? I'm kind of blown away by this one, honestly. The ones he didn't read. I'm just like, oh no. Wow. Wow.
Please. Thank you. Compared to Christian countries, let's take a look. Usually less than 1%.
Usually less than 1%.
Now, I wonder why Christians build better societies, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the IQ
now,
actually exists.
We want to pull up the slide here, moving right along. As countries become more Christian, inbreeding declines, right? We can see this from church intervention in Spain, 20 to 30% post-Reconquista. Catholic Church banned cousin marriages for commoners, papal dispensations sold for royals. Italy, similar high rates in the medieval period. The church enforced bans over the century. France, high medieval. Canon law prohibited marriage within 4 degrees of relation.
4
Modern
degrees.
Western
That's
Europe,
actually pretty good.
It's not just the cultural norm, but let me tell you exactly how much of a cultural norm it is. Even in European nations where marrying your first cousin is legal, they don't do it because of the ecclesiology. Isn't that wild? Africa shows the more Christians and less Muslim the societies become, the better they do. Let's just take a look at Nigeria. Okay, we can go down the list here. 50% Nigeria, 20 to 30% first cousin marriage. Isn't that crazy? Now let's move right on down. You can see South Africa, Muslim 1.5%, very low on to negligible in the national prevalence of cousin fucking. You can look at the list. It's pretty comprehensive. We can continue to go, right? The bottom 20 least productive sub-Saharan African countries. Wouldn't you know it? They're all Muslim. 99% Muslim in Somalia. Very high.
Goodness.
60% first cousins. Anybody ever hear a joke about Somalia?
He doesn't even need like charts or anything. He just gives the raw numbers.
Let's look over at Niger. 99% Muslim.
No pretty pew pictures here.
Cousin marriage. First cousin marriage. Let's take a look at Muslims.
My goodness.
When we're taking a look at Malil. It's a 90% population. High cousin marriage. In other words, everywhere Islam goes, the IQ goes like this because they all are fucking their cousins. Not joking.
No.
Go over to the next slide,
so
please.
Brutal.
I want to show you this is a famous case. These are called the rat people of Pakistan. It's a condition known as microphalics. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea. And it's caused by excessive inbreeding. When's the last time you went to a European country and saw that?
Wow.
You don't see it. Inbreed, yeah.
Wow.
Now, hang on. Next slide, please. As we continue, let's just take a look here at the casual link between cousin humping and low IQ. Basically, there's increased homozygosity, I think that's how it's pronounced, for deleterious recessive genes, and it is the strongest
This is so brutal, though.
Why the IQs are so low. Genetic risk. Inbreeding raises the chances of inheriting 2 copies of harmful recessive genes. Brain development impact. Harmful genes can impair neurodevelopment, reducing cognitive potential. IQ reduction evidence. First cousin offspring lose 3 to 4 points on average, and closer inbreeding can cause larger deficits. They've been at it for 1,400 years.
Jeez. 1,400
Higher
years.
prevalence equals greater risk. Populations with widespread cousin marriage show more individuals with lower cognitive performance.
Hang on. Look at this guy. This guy right here. He mad because he's going to have to defend cousin marriage. That is not a good position. That's not even like a traditional value either. That's like a very specific backwards value. Oh no. It's just degeneracy. Yeah. No, for real. Oh.
Generational compounding over successful generations. Harmful genes accumulate. One of the big Muslim copes you'll hear from Daniel tonight. Well, it's only 1.5% for genetic problems for normal people who aren't having sex with their first cousin. Well, that's true. He says it only doubles to 3%. That's very low. No, it compounds. See, if you hump your first cousin, and then those kids hump their first cousin, and their kids are
that explains why Cenk is so bad at what he does. The Young Turks is such a trash network.
Guess what? You'll never guess. Anybody
His grandparents
guess?
were first cousins.
It goes down. The negative consequences of a low IQ. Yep. 80 IQ versus 100 IQ person. Income 50 to 70% lower. Welfare dependency 4 to 6 times higher. Literacy less than 10% at less than 85 IQ.
Wow.
Obesity up almost 2 times. Chronic disease up to almost 2.5 times. Life expectancy less than 70 IQ or 75 IQ, down 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
Why? Because you might just look down the barrel of that shotgun when you're cleaning it.
That also explains why Hassan's an idiot too.
Arrests and incarcerations 3 to 8 times higher. Violent offenses 4 to 6 times higher. Teen pregnancy 3 times higher. Child neglect and abuse 3 to 7 times higher. Intergenerational poverty 4 to 6 times. Almost every study available shows that IQ entering the low 80s, Muslim countries, affects nearly every aspect of life in a negative way. Economic
it really can be
prospects,
oh my goodness,
criminality, mental, physical health, happiness metrics, and both at the individual and societal level. In fact, study shows that when a country has a sub-90 IQ average, they find it difficult to have basic innovation, infrastructure, professional class, and other basic needs of a functional society. Is that sounding familiar?
Okay, hang on. So I'm going to try to boil down Andrew's argument here. He's saying that incest bad. That's a pretty solid argument, and that civilizational maintenance IQ level required is about 90. Is that a fair assessment here? Oh my goodness, compounding incest, like compounding interest, only worse. Yeah. Incest equals low IQ, which equals bad society. All right, that's the argument. He's shown the data for it. Fair enough. What? Why? Yeah, no, it's not even like a morally bad. It's just like objective at this point. It's not a normative claim. It's an objective claim. Why? Oh my goodness. No, this is silly. Like, oh my goodness. All right.
Yet. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. Modern societies don't require everyone to be a genius. Just look at me. But they do rely on a distribution of abilities, and you can see their roles below. 70 to 85, basic job, practical skills, routine labor. That's Islam. That's almost every Islamic nation, ladies and gentlemen, 70 to 85. Sometimes up to 2 standard deviations lower. 85 to 100 would be skilled labor, administrative support. 100 to 115, professional, middle management. 115 to 130, engineer, scientist, doctors, specialized roles, the things they desperately need that they get from us. 130 plus, innovation, leadership, high-level problem solving. Next slide, please. Inbreeding itself over generations causes massively compounds that lead to negative consequences. And you can see the risk curve there. You see how the genetic defects increase every single generation. Moving over, just want to point this out on the last slide.
I feel bad for those people.
Islam took an ethnic people that were at the heart of being the top of civilization, and through generations of Islam and inbreeding has turned them into the lowest IQ, some of the stupidest people on planet Earth. Literally. You think I'm being mean. I'm not. They're literally some of the stupidest people on planet Earth. Everywhere Islam goes, inbreeding increases and societies become worse. Where Christianity goes, inbreeding decreases, so societies do better in almost every material way. Let's just point out here, as I wrap this up, 1 second. So it's clear here that my argument summarized, though this isn't its entirety,
it's taking like almost less than half his time.
Large swaths of people with IQs so collectively low, they would be considered developmentally challenged, borderline retarded here in the West. Not kidding.
Oh no, he went there.
Side effect, force doctrine becomes the order of the day. Because the technological difference in capabilities of each people group is so vastly different, think Apollo mission compared to Starship Enterprise, Islam must literally bank on the benevolence of Christians to not wipe them off the face of planet Earth. They are basically, the feminists of the East, totally reliant on the goodwill and benevolence of global Christianity, not to just not exterminate them. Okay? And take their resources, always appealing to the mightier force for their existence and the benevolence of that very people group who Daniel today is arguing doesn't make better societies, which is a laughable proposition. Even absent the degeneracy of a people group must be able to competently defend itself or bank on the benevolence of the people group, which can. And almost everybody is going to prefer the society that can. Imagine the irony here of arguing against the very Christians you find inadequate morally, yet bank on their moral benevolence to not wipe your low IQ fucking asses off the face of planet Earth.
Oh, okay. Right, so coherence-wise, this was night and day, my goodness. So, this guy spent a lot of time posturing, making false equivalents, building a straw man, all that. Andrew just came in with, I mean, it was more logically straightforward as well, but Andrew just came in with raw data, slammed it on the table and said, fix. Like, there was more to break down with the other guy because you had to, like, stop it every now and then to be like, okay, hang on. And Andrew just kind of used common language and didn't try to obscure terms. Yeah, basically. I mean, seriously though, this is one of those things where it's like you're making all these points about Islam being better for traditional values, blah 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 blah, and trying to attack a version of Andrew that doesn't exist, like to preempt a lot of the arguments. And all Andrew had to do was slam a folder down and say, hey, don't pork your cousin. Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. Oh my goodness. It's like, your collective IQ is 79. I think that's definitely, or not 79, like, what was one of them, like 65? That is definitionally retarded in the West. Like, that's, oh man. Yeah, no, he called shot him pretty bad. It just shows that he knew this guy wouldn't do the research. Excuse me. But still, that's, that's brutal.
Thank you very much for that opening as well. I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to our friends at Main First Project for link. Just a quick reminder, folks, please be sure your phones are on silent, and also please, if that's fine, but...
So this falls exactly into what I predicted. You argued like a libtard.
What?
This falls into exactly what I predicted. You argued
with
like
Andrew,
a
this
libtard.
one.
How?
What?
You're saying that success is on the basis of IQ. Well, how are you going to argue tomorrow when you debate with an atheist that Christian IQ is higher than secular atheist IQ? In fact, the atheist IQ is much higher than Christian IQ. So your entire standard for judging Islam applies just as much to Christianity. And tomorrow when you're debating the atheist, you'll have to concede that your Christian religion is associated or correlated with lower IQ. Therefore, atheism or secularism is better for society because it raises IQ.
He is really fixated on that IQ thing. Like that was just Andrew demonstrating that they lack the critical thinking skills required to maintain the civilization. Not that like IQ is everything. It's like it's the baseline. So if you don't exceed the threshold, then you lose functionality, and now you're relying on those of higher intelligence to keep you alive. So Andrew's expression here is very much how I'm feeling too. I'm just like, huh? What? My goodness, how many views does this? I want to like that real quick. Only 91,000 views, man.
This is...
Let's up those numbers.
So that's one point. Point number 2, where in the Bible does it restrict cousin marriage? This, as you acknowledged, is a later papal decree. It was not a part of Jesus' teachings. Jesus didn't come out and say, hey, if you...
What? Hold on. Hold on. You're saying nowhere in the Bible does it prohibit this, therefore it's allowed? What? Like, oh yes, it was a later papal decree, and it's like also not relevant to a lot of the context of what the Bible says, but anyway, it's also usually shown to be a bad thing. What? Yeah, I know. Why are you making that your point to start with? First off, the prohibition of it is not the issue here. In fact, it's actually shown, I think, in many stories in the Bible where incest is actually bad. Like, I think even Old Testament says it's bad, right? I would have to. Yeah, I know. I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. Just read it. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that was shown to be bad, very bad. So even Old Testament, it's like, right? Yeah. So even Old Testament, bad. That's such. It's like a whataboutism to defend an impossible point, right? What about your missile doctrine? It's like, but the missile text that kind of just treats it as self-evidently bad. But man, this guy won't drive me nuts.
You want to have a successful society.
Those of you in the audience, I do want to ask you to keep it down so we can hear the speaker.
Jesus didn't say, oh, hey, if you want success and you want to have a prosperous society, you shouldn't marry your cousin. Jesus never had this apparently essential Christian teaching that is the key to success on earth. That's your whole argument against Islam, and it's found nowhere in Jesus' teachings. It's found nowhere in the early church fathers' teachings. This is something that came later. And also, when it was decreed that cousin marriage is considered to be incest, it wasn't on the basis of IQ. This is something that you have adopted from who? From atheists, from secularists, from those who are doing secular science to discover these medical problems or IQ levels. So your entire standard for judging Islam is not a Christian standard. It's not a biblical standard. It's not an Orthodox church standard. This is coming only from atheists.
What? He says it's an atheist standard, but it was a papal decree, wasn't it? Who is the Pope? Sure, who is the Pope? Who is the Pope? Yeah, I know. They are, in fact, not mutually exclusive. From
atheistic science. Second of all, if IQ is such end-all be-all, Christian societies, if you bring up a country list of countries by IQ, many Christian countries are on the bottom there. I don't know if you consider them.
Is he like referring to the Philippines? I'm trying to think of all the like Christian nations that struggle. I think Philippines is like the only one that comes to mind. Maybe Brazil, some South American countries, because they have a lot of other issues besides like the faith issue. That's such a non sequitur. Is this dude dodging? Like it feels like he's not even addressing the point because Andrew's getting impatient. I'm thinking about that, right? Because even if you go to like Tibet, it's not an issue there. So
to be true Christians because they're not white, but they're also at 80 IQ, 70 IQ. Look at sub-Saharan Africa, look at Latin America, look at the Philippines. It's also comparable with Muslim countries. Do you consider them to be Christians or not? Also, go back to the Middle Ages. IQ was much lower in the Middle Ages in Christian societies. Why that has changed is because of the Flynn effect. IQ has increased globally across the world because of the Flynn effect. So if you have a problem with lower IQ, look at medieval or Middle Age Christian societies. And also, here's another big problem. IQ is also linked with race. So if you want to prioritize high IQ, you should discourage interbreeding between races. Why should higher average IQ from Asians or whites or Jews or whatever race that has a higher average IQ, Christianity encourages or allows interbreeding between the races? That will result in a lower IQ. So you should be against that because that's going to, over time, lower the average IQ of society. So that should be something that you need to oppose to be consistent. Interracial marriage or interracial breeding should be contrary to your point or contrary to your position. Also,
his position is don't fuck your cousin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just shocked that your entire argument about why Christianity is better than Islam is a cousin marriage argument. That's like shocking because it just works so far against you.
What?
So.
Sorry, I threw my hands over my face there. What? His whole argument is, I would agree with that. Change in thinking style than actual intelligence. But regardless, Andrew's whole argument is fucking cousins is bad, and then this guy says, "What about X, Y, and Z?" And then says, "Oh, but the Flynn effect nullifies this argument," and but that explains medieval, not the modern. The modern's the issue. Why? Why is he defending that? Wouldn't it be easier just to say, well, it's not a matter of Islam necessarily, but rather an issue of cultural values, that maybe Islam doesn't do a good enough job discouraging that? Yeah, that's right. It's moot. It's a moot point. It doesn't make, like, the best way to go about this would have been to concede that point fast and just be like, okay, look, I get it. I get what you're saying. That's more of a cultural issue, not a religious issue. And that maybe the doctrine and the clergy doesn't do enough to discourage this practice. I think that's a fair critique that he could have given himself, but also would have completely disarmed Andrew's argument, right? Right. Because we're no longer in survival mode all the time, we don't have to consider things like first cousin marriage. Well, you see. Oh. Why, though? Why? No, and you're going to have to make sure that you include the chat. Wow.
If IQ is the end-all, be-all of what makes a society good, then Christianity loses to atheism and secularism. Like, case closed. So, like, and many Christian societies are low IQ, as in the same way as certain Muslim countries. The thing about the difference between me and you is my values are based on marriage, family, traditional values of that nature, not atheistic values of IQ and intelligence.
We're going to jump into...
I'm getting tilted. What kind? You may... Yeah, no, for real. Like, okay, so he's saying science is inherently an atheistic value. I take issue with that right off the bat. Like, does he not know Sir Isaac Newton was a theologian? Yeah, for real. It's like he ignores nuance. I'm sure. I mean, if Andrew's whole argument can defeat his by saying, Lamau, you want to fuck your cousin, I mean, he's already lost, right?
To Andrew's rebuttal as well, the timer is set for you 5 minutes, Andrew.
Libtard value. Don't fuck your first cousin, libtard. Let me just point out that Daniel Kikikachu didn't actually rebut any of my arguments. Not a single one.
Nope.
My argument was simple, and I'll repeat it here again. The argument is that your society has to rely on the benevolence of mind to exist because of your general IQ. You see, remember how I told you the 70 to 85 is basic jobs, practical skills, routine labor? That's most Muslim societies, sir. Doesn't matter if you point out two exceptions to the rule. Even in those societies in which Christians have a lower IQ, guess what you find? Their interbreeding rates are going down, and when you compare them to the same Arab population where they're inbreeding, that section of the population, the IQ is always lower. So what's my argument here? My argument is that Christian societies are better because they lower inbreeding, which collectively takes your IQ so far down the rabbit trail that you end up having to beg the higher IQ individuals for protection from them. You have to bank on their benevolence. Imagine this guy is banking on the benevolence of Christians who have a high enough IQ to basically eradicate all of the Middle East. There's nothing they can do about it. And they're banking on that benevolence while telling you that you're immoral. You're immoral. This is not an atheist argument. Far away. Well, the argument here is based around what it is that we're discussing. And what are we discussing? Which makes for better societies, right? Christianity or Islam? How can you claim?
That's not even the argument right now. It's which one makes functional societies. My goodness. Like the what is it? The 59.3 IQ society, like 59.3 IQ country. That's like pure barbarism, right? What even though? Why? Why'd you make me watch this? Good. Yeah. Oh, that's so bad. And it's like, well, you're using science to say it's bad. It's like, yeah, and I don't even have to go into normative claims here. I could just go with objective. Excuse me. Good grief. You have non-blood relative marriage. You're the weird one. Yeah. It's like, well, you're arguing like a secularist. It's like, no, I'm just pointing out facts right now. IQ is the strongest indication we have on a functioning society. If your IQ is too low, your society loses functionality. Like, what? How do you argue against that? Just objectively true. Like, what is? He is. I actually would like to debate him myself just to test myself. But we'd have to find an area we disagree on, and those are so narrow. Yeah, it's like, how do I avoid the theological frameworks and force them out of apologia, put them into the political space instead? That's really what he did. Move the frame away from his specialty, and then, my goodness. Oh man, why die on the altar of cousin fucking? I don't understand. It is political because you're basically arguing Islamic theology versus, or not theology, Islamic theocracy versus Christian theocracy, right? So then it's a political system based within the faith structure. So which one does better? I mean, let's compare the Vatican to Mecca as an example. Which one has higher art standards and more wealth? Yeah, if it's about societies, it is political by its nature. Which one makes a better society? Oh well, moving right along.
Claim you have better societies, sir, when half of your societies are so inbred, their IQs are like borderline retarded. How could this possibly be of benefit? And you know what they do when they go to other countries? They keep doing it. Keep doing it. Now he says, well, if you value IQ more than all other values, who said anything about that? The debate is not about that. It's about which makes for better societies. Now, which society would you rather live in? Would you rather live in a society of donkey pull cart, right? Donkey pull cart, because we're not smart enough to make car. We're not smart enough to even have infrastructure because we're at 70 IQ, 80 IQ, borderline retarded individuals. That's a society. Who's moving there?
Donkey pull cart.
Nobody. They're all moving here. Why? Because they want the societies that Christians have. By the way, let me point a couple other things out. No. Actually,
I'm going to be a little bit nitpicky here, just because I need to actually do something to, I don't even know, argue against Andrew necessarily, but like, is social desirability an indication of a better society? I would say so, but I need to address at least something Andrew is saying. Otherwise, it's just not going to be fair, right? I'm just kind of dunking on this poor guy. He hasn't been insufferable about it. He's just been kind of, social comes from society. True. I guess, how much do people want to move to another country? Does that indicate social success? If it's high, then I guess that means it's high. Makes sense. I'm trying to find something, but this poor guy, he walked into this debate with the wrong mental framework. Yeah, it would be. Oh well.
Oh, Christians are not stupid. Yes, their IQs are much higher, much higher, even in non.
I hate that I pity him though. Like, for real, this guy, he may have come in bad faith, right? But he's also at a huge disadvantage considering the room that he's in. So I'll give him props for courage. I will not give him props for defending cousin marriage like that. Like, yeah, I know. Like, hey, that was brave of you. Maybe next time don't defend fucking your cousin. Just thought.
On white areas, they're much higher, sir, because they don't inbreed. And it's very frowned upon. Go figure. And interestingly enough, let me just point this out, that Christians have a much smarter enemy. You're right, they do have a high IQ. You need high IQ people to combat that with these values. Islam can make no inroads. They don't have the technology. They can't mount an invasion. They can't even make a fucking power plant, right? How are they going to do that? Daniel, what's your big plan? His big plan is to bank on the fact that there's enough suicidal empathy in the West to keep on importing Muslims. That's about it. That's it. That could be his only plan. These people can't make armies. That requires massive organization and mobilization. You think that...
He's right, though. Look at the jihadists. How many of them are actually an organized army? Yeah, no. It's like, I think we could get modern crusaders way easier than modern jihadists to make a organized formation. This is brutal, man. Like, actually brutal.
That these people could ever attack the West? That's a laughable prospect. He started with Zionism. He has 10 million Jews in his backyard. They can't do shit about it. Nothing. 1 billion versus 10 million. They can't do anything. They launched their entire missile payload. It does nothing because of the IQ difference in these regions. The IQ difference is so wide
Oh, he's twisting that
If they
knife.
tried to collectivize, it would still be done, and they know it. And they can't collectivize anyway because it requires a high enough IQ to follow orders.
Yep.
Okay? So that's my argument. My argument basically is very simple. You have to have a high enough IQ to have a society to begin with. Christians make it by lowering everywhere they go. You fucking your family members. My God. Back to you, Daniel.
Oh no. What is there? Why is there over an hour left? Or not over? Like, why is there an hour left in this? Yeah, over an hour left in this. Like, there's nothing. Because all this guy's only defense is if he wants to die on this hill is, yeah, no, it feels like it. But like, if he wants to defend his position, he's got it. The smartest thing to do would be to abandon defending cousin marriage, right? Like, just from a debate tactic standpoint, it would be way smarter to do that. Like, okay, fine, I can grant that that's bad and it doesn't do well. If we corrected that, there would actually be a discussion, you know? But it seems like he is dead set on defending this, and I don't understand why. I don't know. Because Andrew just locked the debate down here. Is it though? Is it? Like, really? You're such a that's brutal. That's brutal. I had to adjust my chair. Yeah, but it's like, oh man, I feel like that meme. What is it? The oh where is it? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Low politeness. Yeah, here we go. This one. This is how I feel about the debate.
Why, you little... I touch you! Down!
He's already dead.
Yep, that's how I feel.
No! I gotta kill him!
It's like Andrew's Homer in this situation. Oh my goodness. Poor guy. I guess maybe hearing him try to defend this will make me feel less bad for him.
With that, we have 60 minutes of open dialogue, though the open dialogue is broken into 90-second segments, just to be sure there's no interruptions. Daniel, we're ready for you for your first 90
Oh,
seconds.
no.
Sure. So he said that I didn't address his argument that Muslims rely on Christian benevolence because Christians have such high IQ that they could just technologically eliminate Muslims whenever they wanted. Well, Christians are at the mercy of atheists. Christians are at the mercy of higher IQ atheists.
Pure whataboutism. Pure whataboutism. Oh, that is just a whataboutism. What about you guys being at the mercy of atheists? Oh, yeah, we're outnumbered quite heavily. Yeah, and there is a conversion process, but ooh.
Christians are at the mercy of higher IQ Ashkenazi Jews. Christians are at the mercy of...
Why bring up the Jews? Yeah, true, but also, like, the Ashkenazi Jews have a higher average IQ, and they're also not actively trying to kill us. Thank you.
China and Asia. If you want to make a might makes right argument, then
Yeah,
we're
for
in
real.
the same boat, buddy. Muslims and Christians are closer together in the same boat compared to these other...
No, we're not. We're not in the same boat. The IQ difference between most Christian countries and like the ones we're talking about is maybe 5 to 10. The difference between the countries Andrew cited and the US alone, that's like almost 20 to 30, depending on the country you're looking at. Good grief. Like, we're not in the same boat. Don't lump us together here. My goodness.
groups. So this is a self-defeating argument. Also, AI. AI is going to eliminate this so-called advantage of IQ. AI...
No, it's not. You have to have a certain IQ to even use it. Why? Oh, the cope. So much cope.
AI is making it irrelevant. I don't know why you're laughing.
AI makes intelligence irrelevant.
Is going to eliminate a biological IQ difference between different races, between different religions, between different countries. So that's a big problem for this kind of IQ argument. You're talking about people moving to the higher IQ.
Andrew, stop. Stop. The expression. I mean, isn't it just easier to take the L at a certain point? Like, take the L and move on to the next topic? Yeah, Andrew's face? Or that guy's face? I got a really awkward freeze frame, didn't I? This whole argument has just been kind of a tale of basic principles versus defending the indefensible. The open discourse has to be just, like, insane. I kind of want to keep watching because all right.
West. Well, you have Christians from Latin America migrating en masse in the millions, 10 million over the past 5 years, coming into the United States. They're coming from Christian countries to the U.S. So you think that they're coming because it's a Christian country, or is it because of economic opportunity? And many people actually prefer to live in these countries. You have people in the U.S. being passport pros and living in South America because they're tired of this shithole United States, unfortunately.
Baby is trying to translate for him. Oh, no. Baby be trying to translate for this guy. You can't even hear it. Hey, buddy. You gonna pull up? Oh. How? I'm sorry. I'm gonna get distracted by the baby now. But he woke up. So this is why I like streaming at like early in the morning.
What it's become, despite the high IQ.
90 seconds.
Why is that, Andrew? Explain it.
Over to Andrew. I want to remind you folks, please do self-regulate so that we don't have difficulty hearing the speaker. With that, Andrew, the floor is yours.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can make that argument. There are some high IQ Christian nations that move to even higher IQ Christian nations, but none of them move to Muslim nations. You're not getting anybody to move over there, Daniel, because you don't have civilizations.
Didn't we already kind of, hang on, he dropped his teether. I got it. Didn't we already kind of address this about how desirability shows that a nation would be necessarily better? Like, this guy is going on about how, but you have immigration from other Christian nations to another Christian nation, and it's like, that's, yeah, and? Am I the problem? And? Yeah.
You can't create civilizations. He says AI is going to come along and solve it all. You got to be smart enough to use the AI, Daniel. You have to be smart enough to use
That's
the AI.
what I said.
Remember, 70 to 85. That's your societies. 70 to 85. Basic jobs, practical skill, routine labor. Doesn't sound like a bunch of automation, robot building, AI savvy individuals to me, Daniel. He points out the ideas of IQ. Remember, we have to have a basic minimum for civilization, about 98 to 100 to 115. They don't have it. That's the distinction in our civilizations. And it's because of one value. Christians outlaw screwing your own family members. That's it. Simple. They outlawed. It's no good. And even in places where it's legal, we must be adhering to the ecclesiology here, Daniel, because where it's legal, people still ain't banging their cousins. That's your societies, the ones that you build. And what you have built is a collective of some of the dumbest people on planet Earth who are at the mercy of Christians.
Yeah.
So don't try to cope and say
He's having
they're
fun.
at the mercy of the
He's
atheists.
having fun.
Give me a break. Everybody is at the mercy right now of Western nations and Western Christians, which are in them. And that includes
90
Eastern
seconds.
Europe, by the way. So this is all cope. He hasn't refuted any of the arguments. How can he possibly say these low IQ societies, which Islam creates, are better than the ones Christians do on this one principle? I want to hear it.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, so you
That's
don't
a
need to
pretty
know
straightforward point to
how AI works to be able to operate it. That's why it's a evening of the playing field.
You do. You have to understand how AI works in order to use it. What? Yeah, he's not. Yeah, I know. All right, so if you give someone a hammer, there is a high chance that intuition alone will make it to where they can use it. If you give someone with like a 70 IQ AI and no context, they're going to think there's someone else on the other side typing out the responses. Like, seriously, what is he on about?
I don't know if anyone here has used AI.
I know.
But you don't actually need to know how to program AI to be able to use it. This is something.
No one said you needed to know how to program AI to use it. Oh, Andrew's face here is so gold. You have to understand it in order to utilize it. That's what he's saying. So, like, let's take a hammer as an example. If you can't comprehend what it is, how do you use it? It's like, I mean, at the baseline level, you can use it to bash things, destroy with it. That's pretty easy. But building with it, you'd have to actually understand how to use it. It's such a weird point he's making. My goodness.
That is very obvious, how AI is going to make IQ differences really irrelevant in the future. And this is what all of the futurists are saying. Second of all, you have Christians in more religious Christian countries going to less religious Christian countries. You have, again, the sub-Saharan Africans, you have the Latin Americans who are Christian going into more secularized nations. So this is, again, an argument for secularism, not for Christianity.
Where do I even start with this one? Your arguments for secularism because people are moving from lower religious regions to, or higher religious regions to lower religious regions. What? I wish I could get the Poland's on the religiosity of. I wish I could get the numbers on the religiosity of Poland, because they're not very secular there, but they're also extremely functional. So can we look at Poland versus like whatever countries he's saying? It's like, yeah, I'm hearing that every time he talks. Good one, little man. but what? So like, this guy is making a point that doesn't function. Like, it's a square circle sort of situation. There are so many clips we can get from this. I don't even want to think about it. So scientific advancement is an argument for secularism. I think that's what his argument boils down to. It is a good video to watch, but I'm stretching this into almost 3 hours. We're gonna have to break this up. My goodness. You want to do that? Have fun. I'm not gonna. I don't want to edit anything. But okay. So his argument boils down to what it sounds like. Science is secular just by its nature, which is all kinds of wrong. I'm getting reinforced by my son. He is agreeing with me. Now he's drooling on his crinkle book. I don't know if I want to get backed up by babies. Yeah, I'm gonna have to download the VOD. Kind of funny. Yeah, exactly. But here it is, right? We're looking at his argument. He is saying science is secular, therefore any region of scientific advancement where people migrate from areas of lower scientific advancement to higher scientific advancement means that they are choosing to opt out of a religious society in favor of a more scientifically advanced society. The issue with that really is that the religion is still practiced in the higher scientific advancement society. Maybe it's a little different, but the doctrine should be the same, roughly, right? It's such an odd argument to make. You know what I mean?
You say that there are no Christians moving to Muslim countries. What about all the Christians in Africa, in the Philippines, in Southeast Asia that go to Dubai, that go to the UAE, that go to Saudi? That is a counterexample
usually to visit
your really bizarre claim. You also, again, look at what makes a society great. I think that's the overarching point that is so hard to believe that a Christian would make this argument. I value marriage. I value children. I value having big families. I value belief in God. I believe church attendance or like religious attendance to places of worship. These are the things that I find valuable, and I showed you how within Muslim countries, all of these things are higher, despite having a lower IQ, which I'll grant you. Did you say over or 10 seconds?
No, you're
Yeah? What's wrong, buddy? Oh, he's getting bored. Hold on.
good. That was 90 seconds. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so this is really funny. Imagine the irony of saying this. Well, Christians are moving to more secular countries. So are Muslims. What are you talking about? The mass migration. No one's bitching about the mass migration of the Christians right now, are they, to Christian nations? They're bitching about it the other way around. Really interesting, too. He still hasn't refuted the argument. Notice he does everything we get in the argument.
He's avoiding the argument.
We really value marriage. To our first cousins. To our first cousins, we think it's great. It's fantastic. We really value it. It's like, no, that's not a value of mine, sir. And I don't think that's secular to say. It's not a value of Christians to not want to have sex with their family members. And
yeah. Where's the lie? It's like, well, it wasn't in the Bible or whatever. It's not expressly forbidden in the Bible, even though it's strongly implied to be bad. Marriage good because marriage good, but also want cousin, apparently. Like, your argument was lost the second that you refused to say that cousin marriage is bad. It's like, yeah, everything we know about objective reality basically says he's arguing against ontology here, not against Andrew. At the very nature of what is. Oh my. Okay.
by the way, can you please explain, even though I've asked you many times, how it could be possible, sir, that you create better societies than Christians where everywhere Christians go based on their ecclesiology, their ecclesiastic authority, and the fact that they're Christians, inbreeding goes down, making sure that the IQ at least sits somewhere around can function. Can you please, for the love of all that is good, I don't even care if you Google it at this point, just contend with the argument. How are you making a better society with inbreeding and your Muslim values, which over 1,400 years have produced the dumbest societies on planet Earth?
Wait, let me ask the audience a question here. Oh, sorry. Let me ask the audience a question.
Appeal to the audience.
Are there
Can function,
electric
yeah.
cars being developed in Latin America? Are there AI?
Is he really going to go there? Really? Okay. Andrew's point isn't that. Yeah, I know it's whataboutism. Let's look at the functionality of Brazil versus Yemen. Let's look at the stability of Costa Rica versus Oman. That's wow. Are these Christian countries making EVs? But is Saudi Arabia? We're talking about organic tech development? Yeah, exactly, buddy. Organic tech development versus imported, what's the argument here? I don't...
New AI technologies being developed in Brazil and Argentina.
Yeah.
Are they being developed in sub-Saharan Africa, these Christian countries? Because they don't have cousin marriage, do they, Andrew? So why aren't they developing all of these technologies, these amazing technologies, AI, nuclear weapons, fighter jets? I didn't see Brazil or Honduras producing any fighter jets, Andrew. Is it because they don't have cousin marriage? Why? They should be having this brain-blasting IQ.
Are they functional? Not are they innovating weapons technology or recreational tech use? Do they function as societies? Are they past survival mode? What's this guy's point?
In all these Christian countries, why is that not the case? If Christianity is the secret sauce, Andrew, then tell me why these countries don't have those technologies. Explain it, because the reason, I'll give you a
fair.
spoiler alert.
Flynn study, forgot about that.
It's not Christianity. It's not Christianity and cousin marriage that causes this discrepancy. And if you're so high IQ in the United States, how are you not able to figure out birth rate, fertility rate? Why are these countries going?
Birth rates are lower is because we have a post-survival mindset, which is funny because it's going to trigger a reawakening of the survival mindset if we keep allowing fertility rates to drop. Either way, neither here nor there. I too like to build straw men sometimes, I guess.
Going extinct. Why is Europe going extinct? Why is Christianity, these Christian countries in Europe going, the population...
Is low birth rate better than high incest rate? You be the judge.
Is on a nosedive despite the high IQ. They can't even figure out how to reproduce at replacement levels. Gee, I guess IQ leads to extinction because it's correlated, right? The higher IQ you have, the lower the fertility rate. So it seems like the more Christianity you have, the more chances you have of going extinct, Andrew.
Yeah, and even if there was a causal link, the remedy he's presenting is not good. Fertility's dropping. What do? Bang our cousins. That's the solution, huh? Birth rate stability, but at what cost? Forking your cousin. Why? Why are you defending this? It's like, you could have had a real discussion. All he had to do was be like, I'm pretty sure the majority of women in this country have no say in the matter. Fair enough, yeah, you're right. A lot of arranged marriages going on there. I don't see why this is the hill he chose to fight on. You know what I mean? I will make my last stand here, where marrying cousins is okay. He's trying to say, well, it's not about cousin marriage, it's about blah, 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 blah. But then you're not addressing any of the downsides of cousin marriage, are you? Yeah. Making an ultimatum for... Yeah, exactly. It's like, do this or else. And so you are maintaining replacement rate. Don't get me wrong. I can grant you that, but you're still fucking your cousins. Oh, nobody. He's chilling in the corner of his little mini crib. Okay. Yeah. So I guess when in doubt and your fertility rate drops below replacement, his solution, fuck your cousin. Just say it's not good.
Explain that for us.
Well, if that were the case, you're in big trouble. Because if it's the case that your IQ stays the same and then collectively secularist IQ goes up, what's to stop them from wiping all of you out and you can't do anything about it? Your argument, unfortunately, destroys you. When you say, well, wait a second, what about these South American nations, right? Are they? Yes, they're way more advanced than your nations. Way more. Not even in the same universe more advanced than your nations. Yes. The truth of the matter is that the reason Islam creates worse societies. We can bicker about theology, right? Hey, I'm sure Daniel could probably get me on some points there, but you can't bicker on the facts. And he hasn't contended with the argument still. He's asked me a bunch of questions. Did you actually hear an argument, anybody?
I've heard a lot of whataboutisms.
An argument. The reason Islam makes worse societies is because they have a doctrine for cousin marriage. Now, notice Daniel didn't say, no, you can't fuck your first cousin and marry her. No. He didn't say that because he probably believes that you should. He probably believes it's fine. He probably believes something about like it protects inheritance or something.
Come on,
like
Andrew,
this,
don't
right?
attribute motive. You don't even need to.
Though, is like,
you okay, buddy?
Can we please get an argument for how
Hang
a
on,
society
baby needs a reset. Thank you. The little man is right next to me, and he might give his little color commentary every now and then. Yeah, I think 3 of those are me, though.
Management isn't better than,
what
donkey
doing, buddy?
pull cart. That's
donkey
what I
pull
want to
cart.
know. And please, for the love of God, sir, when you say it's not because of Christianity, the entire historical record disagrees with you. When pagans were at 20 to 30%, guess what? It was Christians who brought that down.
90 seconds.
And by the way, in all of the Muslim shared nations with Christians and Muslims, they're always lower IQ than the Christians because they fuck their cousins.
Yeah? What do you think, buddy? Yeah, one is you for sure. Okay. So the little man is offering a little bit of color commentary here, but he's mostly rolling around and enjoying the sunlight. So I don't know what that means. To Andrew's point, I mean, where's the lie? Where's the lie? I mean, the research and the data shows this, right? So where's the lie? Exactly.
And time. We'll go over to Daniel, 90 seconds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, throughout Christian history, you had sub 100 IQ. Throughout Christian history. It's only because of the Flynn effect in recent...
I saw Andrew's reaction to that. He's like, oh, dude, not the argument. Not the argument. Like, throughout history. Yeah, but which one emerged from that? The Flynn effect was more of a turning point, right? Could we call that fair? When we swapped off a survival brain to prosperity brain. Thank you, buddy. Am I crazy here? I don't know. Yeah, yep. It looks like he's going for that second one. It looks like he was trying to go for the second point, but he kind of fumbled it so hard. I don't know what to make of it. You okay, buddy? Okay, buddy. But yeah,
centuries that you have this change. So all of the criticisms that you're applying to Islam apply to your past civilization. How did you have a Christian civilization with sub 100 IQ, Andrew? Was the Byzantine Empire a S-hole? They had sub 100 IQ. How did they have a civilization without having positive 100 IQ? You can't explain that. You can have a beautiful, expansive civilization and empire with sub 100 IQ because there's other values that are significant.
Where's the Byzantine Empire now? Where is it now? Yeah, it gone. Was it beautiful for its time? Yeah, but it was in hostile territory, stuck in survival brain. It eventually died to conquest, right? This is like such a non-argument. Not addressing any of Andrew's points. It's like, but what about? And it's just pure whataboutism. And I feel less and less bad for this guy the more he tries to defend this point.
To human existence, values like marriage, family, God, worshiping God.
I do not want to hear this man say marriage and family in the same breath ever again. Never again. Oh, does he really? Why? Ugh. Okay. Oh, Lord.
You don't need to be a positive 100 IQ genius to be able to love and be devoted to God. I think that is actually more of the Christian message than this kind of IQ chauvinism that you're presenting.
IQ chauvinism. Is that what he's going to go with? More important to have these traditional values than the IQ to actually understand why they're important. The bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that pays off.
Doesn't seem Christian at all. This really doesn't seem Christian. You keep talking about like donkeys pulling carts. Go to the Philippines, bro. They're Christians. Go to the Philippines, go to some of these African countries, go to Botswana, Christian country, they have donkeys pulling. So apparently their Christianity and their lack of cousin marriage is not helping them. So this is a really bizarre argument.
Another whataboutism.
Laugh and chuckle it and laugh it up, but it doesn't change how stupid this argument is. If you have, okay, if IQ is
Want to remind the audience.
end all be all of civilization and the end all be all of progress, then why is the West going in a nosedive? All the things, Andrew, that you brilliantly, beautifully criticize about the West, the LGBTQ, the lack of marriage, that's happening in these non-cousin marriage countries. So clearly, having the highest IQ, so clearly IQ is not the end all be all.
Switch it over.
Let's take a look at the first straw man. Did I ever say IQ is the end all be all?
Yep.
No, of course not. Straw man still hasn't told us how Muslims
Oh,
go.
hang on. Yeah. Yep. I can defend all those other points too, but I draw the line at cousin marriage. Like I can take care of like the dumb, the infirmed, recognize the human dignity of someone that was born from a condition that they did not choose, but I will not endorse cousin marriage. If I have to have a line in the sand, that is one of them. And the fact that he's using nothing but pure whataboutisms to try to defend his point is just so annoying. Like, yeah, and what about stop.
Better civilizations when they produce
Yeah, for real.
70 to 85 IQ individuals who are basically only suited for basic jobs. Okay, still hasn't told us that. He can't tell you. He can't tell you that these are better civilizations. The reason that he can't
Uh-oh. Hang on.
is because
Little man's getting fussy. Hold on. The little man seems to think I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm not. I'm still here, buddy. You good? Yeah? Okay.
because they're not. They're clearly not. And the thing that's really funny about this is, like, let's just grant it. Let's just grant that, just for a second, we'll just grant Daniel's argument. We'll just pretend, well,
Yeah,
it's
probably.
okay to have a bunch of 80 IQ people who can't seem to get past primitive technology and are just day laborers. But you know what? We don't do anything degenerate. Fucking your cousin's degenerate, Daniel!
Yeah. He right though. Bought the lie. Where's the lie? Yeah, I agree. Fucking your cousin is degenerate. I did. Choose a different hill, man. Yeah, it is.
That's degenerate. Yeah, maybe you don't have hookers and OnlyFans girls, but fucking your first cousin is degenerate. So by the way,
According to
let me
what?
just point this out, and
According to what? Biology? Like, the sanctity of marriage does not nullify the fact that you are cousins, right? Am I the crazy one here? Like, to degenerate means, well, all right, so when you generate something, that means you make something. To degenerate something is to destroy something. So, if you are destroying your own genetic code over generations of inbreeding,
and this is really, really important to point out, he has not made an argument about how they produce a better civilization. Only I have. My argument is simple and still stands unopposed. Where Christianity goes, incest decreases based on canon law. Where Islam goes, incest increases based on their canon law. Therefore, where Christians go, society gets better. Where Islam goes, it gets worse. An argument would sure be swell.
90 seconds, we'll switch
Yeah.
to Daniel.
No, I gave a argument that you failed to respond to. I said that
What was it?
Islam, when we look at the statistics, when we look at all these countries on these metrics of marriage, birth rate, household size, belief in God, conviction in God. I thought we were believers. Conviction in God is higher in Muslim countries. Holding on to your religious practice is more in Muslim countries. Look at the level.
that's a different argument. I mean, he is making a completely different argument. He's not defending the prompt. The argument against Andrew's argument is incredibly hard. Yeah, it really is. But like, okay, let me try to break it down like this. Andrew is addressing the prompt. This guy is saying that religion good. There are plenty of arguments in favor of that. Andrew's more. Yeah, it really does. Reproduce more families. They're a little too tight knit, you know. Might want to leave a little space to breathe. We have stronger family structures. I really don't like it when he says that. I really don't like it when he says that. Yeah. I think cousin marriage just upsets little man.
Levels of drug abuse, alcohol abuse being lower in Muslim countries. These are all values that are good.
Hang on. Alcohol and drug abuse, if you don't count opium, yes, he's correct. But also, alcohol is just straight up illegal. So, bad argument.
And we see them associated with Islam, not Christianity. That was my argument. So you can't deny those statistics, so you keep claiming that I have no argument. I clearly do have an argument, and I refuted your argument. If IQ is the end-all be-all, your entire argument is on the basis of IQ. You haven't said, you just say, marrying your cousin, effing your cousin, that is degenerate. On the basis of what? It's not on the basis of your Bible.
The crowd laughed correctly. On the basis of what? Biology. Your move, sir. That was the clip. For sure. Like, oh my goodness. And the crowd goes appropriate.
It's just a degree. Yeah, laugh it up.
Laugh it up.
I do want to make sure we can hear the speaker.
Laugh it up, okay? Because as I said, you are arguing on the basis of a decree that was made. What is the actual moral? Can you make a moral argument, Andrew? Other than, it lowers IQ? There are many things that lower IQ. Like I said, interbreeding with other races, interracial marriage results in lower IQ. So is that degenerate as well? Why can't you answer these questions, Andrew, instead of repeating, you don't have an argument. You haven't responded to my argument. Okay, yeah, you've said that 10 times. Respond to the points that I'm making.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that's funny, right? The points that you're making.
Sorry, I double tapped there. What? Make a moral case for why cousin marriage is bad. That guy, that's literally what he said. If we define moral as, like, even if we go with the harm principle alone, having a cousin marriage is, yeah, that's true. Actually, the greater genetic diversity typically correlates with a higher IQ. But here's the thing, right? So this guy basically just said, hey, make a moral case for why incest is bad. As simple as it minimizes the genetic defect potential. Am I losing my mind? Am I losing my touch?
Making are in question form. Question form is not an argument. They're questions, not arguments. Perhaps you should go to a higher IQ school. The point is here, and this is super important to point out, I have what's called an argument, which means I made an argument. That argument needs to be refuted. Now, I would be happy to sit here and answer all of your questions today, Daniel, but you requested specifically a forum where that's not the case, where instead we do 2-minute monologues, probably because I would tear you to pieces in a Socratic method, but I would have been happy to do that too. People always misjudge. They always say,
it's not an argument.
Well, Andrew just steamrolls debates, and he's terrible at these long-form formal debates. It's where I fucking thrive. And let me just point this out. Has anybody heard an argument yet? He just says, well, there's better families and stuff. It's like, okay, but you need to give us a standard, an argument standard for why.
I genuinely cannot take this guy seriously whenever he says family. I just can't. I'm sorry. It does. Like, this man wants to teach you a lesson about loving his cousin. Oh, no. I don't like that.
Why it would be that these have better societies than societies which can have, skilled labor and middle management at the very least. That's all I'm asking for. I'll concede. Hey, we've got some problems. We've got the OF. We've got the prostitution. We've got some pretty horrible things going on over here. And we have high IQ enemies that require high IQ enemies, right? And they're not getting it from Islam. So my question just is this again.
It does start the conversations and the arguments, but unfortunately this guy, we're going to have to go back over this one from the beginning. So basically this guy says, yes, Islam is better for society because it builds stronger families. And then Andrew came out with, but they fuck their cousins. And this has been the whole debate ever since. His argument, Christians don't fuck their cousins. So he's asking a question where the forum does not demand that Andrew answer the question because he wanted to avoid that. Actually, this guy requested this format, the monologue format, not the forum. The forum format would have been better for the question answer call response kind of thing, but he wanted a formal debate instead. So yeah, it's kind of terrible. And since society is the topic of the debate, politics is naturally a part of it. And all Andrews had to do this entire time is say Christians don't fuck their, and that has been the basis of his whole debate. It's this. Oh, it's so dumb, so dumb. I'll show you the clips of that later. It's oh.
It's very simple. How do you make societies that can even combat this to begin with when you basically live in the Stone Age in comparison with technological distinction? You live in the Stone Age. Islam will get AI. We already got AI. What are you talking about? So I just want an argument. That's it. I want to hear an argument for why Islamic nations are better than Christian nations based on the fact that they go, and everywhere they go, they increase cousin fucking and we don't, which lowers the collective IQ. I would actually like a refutation there at some point.
Okay, here is the argument. I'll put it in premise form so you can follow it. Take notes, Andrew. Premise 1, okay, societies that encourage marriage or religions that
encourage marriage to your cousin. No, that's not marriage. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Yeah.
More,
oh my goodness.
Better marriages, higher quality.
What's better about being married to your cousin? Like, for real. This is why he couldn't survive a forum debate, like a one where they actually had a Socratic back and forth. He'd get just demolished on the counter questions. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. These family values where a man can fuck his cousin. Okay.
Marriages, less being sluts, okay, less prostitution, societies that have bigger and more healthy families,
65%
that have more devotion to God, religions that encourage societies that are more cohesive,
okay. The cohesive is part of an argument, but he has to actually explain the premise as to what makes it cohesive, because that's just an assertion. Yeah, it is. Andrew even covered that. And it's compounding. It's not a one-time multiplier. It's like it gets worse generation after generation, and they've been doing it for 1,400 years.
Standing for each other in a kind of nationalistic.
What was it? Yemen had like a 59 IQ on average, something like that. Yeah, it's bad.
Or communal way. That religion that encourages more of that is going to be better. Is going to be a better religion. Premise 2, Islam does encourage.
That was a theological argument, not a societal argument. Please continue.
All of those things. All of those things I've mentioned. And the
things
stats
multiplicative, not exponential.
Premise 2. Therefore, conclusion, by deductive inference, Islam is a better religion than Christianity. That is the argument. The problem with your argument is that you say premise 1, societies that have higher IQ are going to be better.
Premise 1 is still yet to be refuted. He's saying that not necessarily that, but rather societies under a certain IQ threshold are dysfunctional. Just to correct him here.
Premise 2, Christianity, because it bans cousin marriage, is going to lead to societies with higher IQ. Therefore, Christianity is better. My rebuttal of this dumb argument is that premise 1 is wrong. Premise 1 is a false premise. That higher IQ does not lead to better societies. And as proof, I pointed to the United States.
It's not. Andrew's argument isn't even higher IQ leads to better societies. It's low IQs lead to society that doesn't function. It's kind of like, oh man. So I'm trying to think of an example or like an analogy here. Okay, so let's say you have a gas can, right? You need so much gas to get the car started and keep the car running. The minimum IQ threshold is basically that start point. Without that, you don't get ignition. That's basically how it is. So he's not even making Andrew is arguing functional society is better than not functional society. That's where we're at.
of America. I pointed to many Christian countries that have low IQ, and you haven't denounced those countries. I gave many reasons why your premise 1 is false. That is my rebuttal of your argument. Get it?
Yeah. Let's go through this premise at a time. First and foremost, the entailment of your argument would be that low IQ societies are better.
Low IQ societies are better. That's a bold premise.
It would be that lower IQ societies are actually better, Daniel, which is hilarious because, remember, you rejected that as being a false premise. P1, he says societies require higher quality marriages. They fuck their first cousins. How
Okay. When that counters your entire argument, I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Oh, I kind of want to find the atheist argument from the next day because, at least that's going to be something interesting. This is embarrassing. My word.
How could that possibly be a higher quality marriage, Daniel? I reject premise 1. I'm saying your argument's not even sound. How can you have in any way, shape, or it's totally invalid. I reject it as even being a sound premise. How could this qualitatively be better to have genetic deficiencies compounded over...
Don't call him out like that. Well, my parents were cousins, so I need to defend them. Oh no. Yeah, I know. I guess the moral of the story here is if you're going to argue something, make sure it's a defensible premise because incest is not a good one.
Over 1,000 years, to the point where your civilization literally requires the benevolence of all other civilizations so that they just don't wipe you out because you're not technologically advanced to do anything about it. You're not technologically advanced. And by the way, when I say technology, I'm not just talking about like lasers and phasers and guns and things like that. Remember, things like philosophy, that's a technology, right? Things like language is technology. Things like social communications and businesses and infrastructure, these are technologies. You can't have these technologies when your IQ is 70 to 85. You can't. You need to have the administrative and skilled labor class, and that requires at least 85 to 100. Most of these places don't have it, but 100 to 115, that's pretty standard for these things. So it's like, look, how could you possibly say that the societies Christians build aren't better on a single principle? That we outlaw first cousin marriage. When you outlaw first cousin marriage, you see the collective IQ begin to increase, right? And you see that these technologies are no longer unavailable. Technologies, medicines for children, things like this are now available. His argument, his entire argument is actually we should keep our society super low IQ.
Wait, what does that mean for Yemen then? Wait, what? Hold on. I'm gonna Google this real quick. Their country's of retards. Oh no. Oh man. You're killing me. Killing me. You. Okay. Okay, someone says 98.43 for Yemen. Other sources present even lower figures, with one citing an average IQ of 62.86 and another 62.9. Oh, that's not good. Okay. So there is no real consensus on this, but my goodness. Oh, and it's based off formats. Okay. Testing formats for IQ really need to be standardized. Read your mind. Countries of retards. I need to see Andrew's citation on that. Like, I just need to know where he got that data.
If we keep them low IQ, well, they'll have more qualitative marriages and stuff. What?
We have to switch it over at 90 seconds. Go ahead, Daniel.
No, I didn't say having lower IQ means you'll have more marriage. You don't understand causality. So the question
That's what he latched on to?
The vast majority of Christian history at sub 100 IQ. Your assumption...
That's not unique to Christianity, though. That's like everywhere. More incest marriages, he means. Yeah. All of humanity was below 100 IQ at one point. That's... Okay.
premise that you're using is that you have to have a over 100 IQ average in your society to build civilization and to be functional. But this is disproven by your own religious history. This is disproven by all of Christendom prior to 1800 or even 1900, the 1900s actually. So just like Christians could have civilization for 1900 years, Muslims have also had their civilizations that were also thriving, that also had conquest, that also had art, literature, poetry, all kinds of beautiful things that we as human beings value. It's not just IQ. You're taking this atheistic argument, which is baffling to me. Why?
It's not an atheistic argument. It's a quantitative one.
You as a Christian would have this kind of IQ fetishism. You're not a white nationalist. IQ is not the end-all, be-all of human existence. I am happy, I'm fine with having a 90 average IQ country that abides by traditional values, that abides by...
Is it really a traditional value to fuck your cousin?
Whether they be Christian or Muslim. I actually prefer the low IQ Christian countries that value marriage. They don't have degeneracy. They don't have prostitution. I value those Christian countries even when they have a lower IQ, a 90 IQ, an 80 IQ. That's they're living beautiful lives. Yeah, you can make fun of them. Oh, they have donkeys pulling their carts. You can laugh, but they're living beautiful lives as Christians or as Muslims or any other religious group.
Well, I guess ignorance really is bliss.
Go on. That was a neat
slapping your slapping your dress. So look, let's point this out. Let's point this out.
Oh, this is cope. This is cope.
Right? We just want to look. We haven't gotten personal with each other. We can go the rest of the debate. We both got a jab in. All right, that's fair. So here's the thing, though. Right? This is still not a refutation of my argument. The historical standard is Christians had lower IQs back in the day. Yeah, and they didn't build modern civilization back in the day. Modern civilization requires professional middle management, 100 to 115 IQ, right? 85 to 100 for skilled labor. What they're talking about is just basic day laborers. These people are very low IQ. And by the way, I'm going to even make the claim that they're really choosing Islam anyway.
Oh, this is about to get spicy. Are we about to get into the apostasy clause? The one that, when this guy was bringing up his stats about like 100% of people in this Islamic nation believe in God. Oh boy. Believe in God or else. Yep. I will say, I hope he's about to go into the apostasy thing, because when 100% of people proclaim to believe something, there's usually a sword hanging above their heads. Just saying.
They can't really think about it that hard, right?
He's saying they have no epistemology. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. They have no epistemological reasoning. They don't know why they believe it. They're just told to, and they're like, yep, okay. Oh no. Uh-oh. Baby's getting fussy. That sounds like Mama solved it.
So the question becomes, right, as we're kind of diving into this, I just want to point out one more time, the argument is around a singular Christian principle. The singular Christian principle is that we're not allowed to marry our first cousins. That's in our ecclesiology. And I don't care if you're a Protestant, right? Almost no Protestants do this, right? No Catholics do this. Orthodox, this is forbidden as well. It's not that you couldn't find some sect somewhere, some small society somewhere which practices it. I'm sure that that's the case, but by and large and overwhelmingly it's not. With Islam, the opposite's true. By and large and overwhelmingly they do. So we're basing this on a singular principle, which is Christian, and that's what I want a refutation for. Why is marrying your first cousin for the purpose of building low IQ societies better than not doing that?
Again, it's not a causal relation. Islam doesn't mandate marrying your cousin.
Okay, that's probably the strongest argument he has made so far. Islam does not mandate you marry your cousin. Then why do they do it? Yeah, but they do anyway.
It's not like we're saying you want to keep IQ low, so marry your cousin. You keep getting the causal chain wrong about this. The second point that I want you to address is that when we look at IQ increasing, that is associated with more atheism. It is directly correlated with higher levels of atheism. The higher the IQ goes, the more people become atheists. This is a bad thing. I would assume that Christians would agree more atheism is a bad thing. I think that, yes, modern society is not all it's cracked up to be. I don't know if you guys have been looking around, but
Is he trying to make a meaning argument here? I'm a little confused. It's like he's makes sense to me. But like, is he trying to say that a correlation between loss of religion and meaning are pretty evident? Because there is evidence to back that. More people find meaning within religion than do not. Historically, this has always been the case. But how is it that, like, that's just a completely different argument? To have a society built on meaning, you have to oppose scale. This is very different. And by his own doctrine, scale is the entire goal, right? Conquest. I don't understand where this guy's coming from.
it seemed like I've felt, at least myself, that over the past 5 years especially, first with the pandemic and now everything that's happening in the world where World War III is about to break out, I think the modern world is a dystopia. I am waiting for, nuclear holocaust to destroy us all. I don't believe in this absolute value of modern society, and therefore I don't agree with your premise that high IQ is something valuable in and of itself. There are many things to point out being wrong or bad with high IQ. Again, I prefer to turn the clock back 200 years, where Christians had these traditional Christian societies. Muslims had traditional Muslim societies. Yeah, you didn't have a laptop. You didn't have internet. You didn't have cars. But guess what? You didn't have to worry about your wife having to, being in college and sleeping with every frat boy in the university, and you don't even know her history because of feminism. You have like...
Deus Volt, brother. So he wants the Crusades back? Okay, let's go.
Like LGBT degeneracy. You have elderly who are being shipped off to old folks' homes because there's not a strong family unit to take care of our own elderly. Children are being shipped off to daycares because there's not a strong family, strong marriage, mom at home with traditional roles to take care of the children. I prefer the low IQ. I prefer the low technology society.
We have to switch it over. Andrew, 90
seconds.
seconds.
Can I just point this out?
Wow.
That none of those degenerate things that he just pointed out, which I agree with him, are the cause of IQ. I think you're having the problem with the causal link, sir. Let's point this out. And this is really important to point out. One more time, he didn't contend with the argument. The argument is, how do you make a superior society which is better for society? And you know what? All you've done right now is just argue this. Literally, I'm Daniel Kikikachu, and I prefer a low IQ society. That's his argument. Now, look, I did not expect you to bite the bullet that you would have a preference for a low IQ society, and therefore we should continue to have sex with our family members to achieve said low IQ society. But over here on the Christian side, well, we're just not willing to do that. So here's what's really important here to remember as the argument structure goes on. Daniel
Andrew,
is literally giving a prescription at this point. He's giving you an ought. We ought to have dumb fucking people. That is his ought. My ought is different. My ought is you being intelligent does not restrict you from Christianity or Christian ethics. And we look at the IQ differentials in Christian nations, and we can see firsthand that is
he's
true.
really upset.
So the thing is these are not mutually exclusive claims. When he says higher IQ leads to secularism, I could just as easily say higher IQ leads to Christianity because...
Yeah, sorry. Daddy duty's coming before everything else. You're going to have to splice in music.
At this point, he's giving you an ought. We ought to have dumb fucking people. That is his ought. My ought is different. My ought is you being intelligent does not restrict you from Christianity or Christian ethics. And we look at the IQ differentials in Christian nations, and we can see firsthand that is true. So the thing is these are not mutually exclusive claims. When he says higher IQ leads to secularism, I could just as easily say higher IQ leads to Christianity because all the Christians are way higher IQ. So the thing is like, which of those moral values do you not prefer? Which of them? Which of these Christians don't want degeneracy? They're fighting against it as well. The only reason you've made these successful inroads is because your enemies are so stupid that you can conquer them. And anytime you've tried to conquer the technologically advanced West, you can only do it via immigration because you cannot collectivize to spare yourselves from the very nuclear war you're currently terrified of because your people groups are too stupid.
Switch it over. Go ahead, Daniel.
How much time do we have, James, for this?
90.
He wants out. He wants out so bad. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Poor guy. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. All right. I'm seeing if Grok knows where Andrew got his stats from because I'm curious. Okay, Intelligence of Nations. So he got it from a book, not from an internet source. So that's interesting. IQ and the Wealth of Nations, incorporating 600, 2018 CrossFit. Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, he didn't go lazy on this one. That's what I'm saying. he had to dig deep. He dug deep. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Now we know.
Back for this
Back and
period.
forth. We have until it's about 30 more minutes.
Oh wow. Okay, that's good.
30 more minutes.
30 more minutes.
Oh, he wants out so bad. Like a dog pawing at the
30
door.
more minutes of Andrew saying that Muslims are dumb. Okay, that's great.
Well,
I'll try to be more substantive than that. So just listen to this. Okay, so let's get into we have enough time to actually get into the IQ science. So first of all, Andrew, I'm not sure if you know this, but IQ is more highly correlated with race than it is with cousin marriage. So race, you want to...
What? No. Hold on. Citation heavily needed there, sir. And what's to say the two aren't linked? My goodness. Oh, that's out. Nope.
Make this kind of IQ supremacist argument, then it will quickly become racial. And if you want to make that argument, just be very clear about it. Does Christianity, like your worldview,
hold on, let me see my soundboard still works.
Higher IQ races, and everyone being at the mercy of those higher IQ races? You keep making a might makes right argument that, Muslims are at the mercy of us high IQ Christians. Okay, well then there are races that are higher IQ than others. So are the higher IQ races practicing benevolence by not wiping out the lower IQ races? That seems to be what your standard, what your morality actually entails.
Hold on. So I'm going to go back a bit. Something there gave me pause. I want to see if I heard him right.
About it. Does Christianity, like your worldview, promote higher IQ races and everyone being at the mercy of those higher IQ races? You keep making a might makes right argument that, Muslims...
Okay. So, might makes right. In the absence of God, that is actually a descriptive. Without transcendent reasoning, might necessarily makes right. Like, this is... Yeah, and it's by the benevolence of the strong that the weak are allowed to exist. So if the divine does not exist, then you are allowed to exist by merit of the strong allowing it. But with God, it changes the whole thing. So like, this is why rights don't exist. Anyway, this is why I get annoyed at Mentis for invoking natural law, but removing the divine from it. It doesn't function quite right. Yeah, I mean, by the basis of the Enlightenment reasoning, that's actually the reality of it. Anyway, moving on.
Muslims are at the mercy of us high IQ Christians. Okay,
he's not making a normative claim. He's making a descriptive.
That are higher IQ than others. So are the higher IQ races practicing benevolence by not wiping out the lower IQ races?
Yes.
That seems to be what your standard, what your morality actually entails. Pretty.
Not a moral claim. It's descriptive.
Directly. So that please address the race issue.
I'll give you a chance to respond, Andrew, but I do want to be sure that this doesn't veer off topic too far.
Yeah, so I mean, that's really simple to address. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if that's a correlate. You know what else is a correlate? Fucking your first cousin. That's a correlate. That's a massive correlate for lowering IQ. It wouldn't matter if it was inherent, let's just say, for instance, that white people had higher IQs on average than the average Arab, right? Let's just say it for the sake of a hypothetical.
Okay, yeah, this is you're right about it being the same arguments he hears from the whatever podcast all the time. It's such a stupid thing because they don't understand. He's making a descriptive based off of the moral grounds reasoning of them, not his own personal preference or what he believes individually. he's taking the idea that there is no transcendent and taking it to its logical conclusion. So this is like I said, a descriptive, not a normative. He's not saying this should be this way. It's just how it is, an ontological claim. Anyway, people don't understand that about his point. He's not saying might should make right. He's saying might makes right, and that's just the reality of it. How you deal with it is like how you negotiate with society, I guess.
It doesn't actually matter that much because we know one thing that's going to bring the IQ down: fucking your first cousin. So the thing is, since that is the case, and it's objectively the case.
Hang on. Gotta go help wifey with technology. I don't know how it's going to look on the TV, honestly. If it looks okay. Huzzah! Okay. So, I don't know how it looks on there. Let's go back 30 seconds.
It doesn't really matter if that's a correlate. You know what else is a correlate? Fucking your first cousin. That's a correlate.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that's really simple to address. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if that's a correlate. You know what else is a correlate? Fucking your first cousin. That's a correlate.
Yeah.
That's a massive correlate for lowering IQ. It wouldn't matter if it was inherent. Let's just say, for instance, that white people had higher IQs on average than the average Arab, right? Let's just say it for the sake of a hypo.
Hold on. Model broke. Try reset. Nope. I'm going to close it and open it again. There we go. And then my neck. Yeah, that did not look good. Ah! Whoop. Okay. As long as it looks good. All right. Oh, okay. There we go. That better? That feels better. I think everything is going to be all right. the neck thing, that was so bad. All right.
Hypothetical. It doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, I had to.
Because we know one thing that's going to bring the IQ down: fucking your first cousin. So the thing is, since that is the case, and it's objectively the case, right, I can still make the prescriptor that your societies would be a lot better off if you had 85 to 100 skilled laborers, 100 to 115 IQ professionals, at least in middle management, at least. And you said it yourself. Right now, you're terrified of nuclear war. We are terrified of nuclear war all around the nation, right? All around Muslim nations. You're probably terrified of Zionists who are right in your own backyard. I get all of that, Daniel. But your people group aren't smart enough to defend themselves against.
That's kind of brutal. But also, when he brought in the race argument, right? He was saying, yeah, you're what's the word? He was saying it's more strongly linked to race, and at the same time, you have to wonder with these people inbreeding across the nation, all these nations. It's like, does that not indicate that maybe if there's a racial link, maybe the inbreeding is a problem on a societal level within these certain things? Like what? Yeah, for real. That's why I'd say I would need some citation there.
Against these people, Christian nations are. We're smart enough to defend ourselves from people groups who want to wipe us out, like yours, right? So that's what's important here. The reason why you need to at least have an IQ that's above, I prefer lower IQ, 70 to 85. The reason you need that is because you need to be able to defend and protect yourself. You can't have these strong families he's talking about if you can't defend these strong families he's talking about. You can't have these great values that he's talking about if you can't defend your own people group, because you're at the technological mercy of another people group simply because you won't restrict a single behavior. That sort of rigidity has destroyed these once great lands. He's right. They did have beautiful art. Nice. They did have beautiful culture. They had beautiful everything. And then Islam came along and allowed them to inbreed themselves into literal stupidity. So again, how do we not build these better cultures? I've refuted every argument you've had. All you do is make my argument for me.
Go to Daniel.
Oh my goodness. You killed him. He killed him. He's dead. Oh, he's dead. Oh no. Oh no. I would feel bad for him, but he's advocating for his cousins.
90 seconds.
Oh.
Yes. Is it on? Okay. So then also the other factor, you didn't really address the race issue and the logic of your argument that we have to promote races that have high IQ, or we have to accept that higher IQ races can dominate the lower IQ races. Guess what? You want to talk about Israelis dominating Palestinians because of low IQ? Guess what? Which race actually has a representative that controls every member of Congress, like a handler, like an AIPAC handler?
Oh, no, he's not. Is he really going to be the retard that brings up the Jews? The Jews control the people. Wait. No. When all else fails, go for Das Juden. Oh my goodness.
What race are the AIPAC handlers that are controlling Congress? What race are they? Are they white Christians, actually, Andrew? Because it seems like 300 million Christians can't take care of just maybe a handful, 10 million of that one particular race that has a death grip over your country.
I can't with this. I genuinely can't. It's like, yes, AIPAC controls everything. No, they really don't, though. They just lobby on behalf of Israel. Like, that's, or maybe not Israel, but like Jewish rights or whatever. It's like they're not any real different than the NAACP. Also, yeah, this is pure whataboutism. It's not an argument. That's a fallacy. So
maybe address that, Andrew, the elephant in the room, and then tell me about IQ. The other point that I want to make is that do I have to spell it out?
Address the six-pointed star in the room.
They're called Jews, Andrew. It's called and there are only 10 million of them. There are 10 million of them, but they seem
control
to have,
your whole region.
They seem to have a lot of control. Yeah, the thing about Israel is that they're able to dupe dumb Christians to support wars that are going to bankrupt America and cause America to really collapse, so that they will have wars.
Hold on. Would it, hypothetically speaking, if we just went no holds bar against every single enemy that Israel has and just wiped them off the face of the map, right? Would that really bankrupt us? Like, realistically?
In the Middle East, killing Muslim brown people because you Christians apparently, by your argument, Andrew, are too stupid to realize that they're being destroyed by this one particular group. Gee, that's really high. That's really brilliant, Andrew. So
actually, hang on, it's my turn.
I'm done. Okay.
Actually, it is really brilliant. Notice how Daniel is banking on the benevolence of Christians to save him from a higher IQ people group, just like I said he would.
Yeah.
Banking on the higher IQ benevolence of the higher IQ people group to save him from another higher IQ people group. Isn't that wild? It's almost like I predicted everything you'd say before you said it, because I did. This is very simple, right?
Yes.
His entire argument here that he's giving you right this second is, let's talk about how these higher IQ people groups are controlling you, the people I'm appealing to right
exactly.
now, to please stop them from
we stupid, but we not retarded.
Entire region. 10 million against 1 billion. Dominated completely. And they have to appeal to somebody else to protect them because you don't have the requisite IQ or technology to protect themselves, and that's that. And that's why you have to have at least some sort of minimum IQ to have some sort of civilization which can at least contribute to your own nations and people groups' protection. How could that be a worse standard?
It's a little unfair, but still. I mean, we are closer in relative range, though. That's the thing. So it's like we have Yemen, which is what, like 59.5 or whatever, versus like America, that's 99 on average. And then maybe if we take the Ashkenazi population, we're looking at like what, 110 at the high end. Be generous and say it's 1 billion retards. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sure. 1 billion retards. Oh, still retarded.
He wants to make it about race. He knows it's a red herring, right? It doesn't matter.
Andrew, I don't think he knows what a red herring is. Also, who's this dude? Down in front.
It doesn't matter if your race has the potentiality for, like, let's say 100 IQ. Let's just say that was the case. It was just stagnant at that for some reason. Then why would we want to reduce it below that? Why? That's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. So again, he makes my argument for me. Yes, he's appealing to the benevolency of Christians to save him and his people group. That should be the fucking... I wish you guys were smart enough to get it. If that was the case, that you understood this, right? That you're appealing to a smarter people group to save you from another people group. That's why you guys have to get your IQs collectively higher. And you just said you prefer lower IQ societies.
So this is Daniel.
Oh
I
my
didn't
goodness.
appeal to anyone's benevolence. I just pointed out how you're being used, how you're being treated like low IQ donkeys by a higher IQ race. That was my point. Like, I know you want to avoid acknowledging the point that I made very clearly, but the audience does.
I don't understand his point. if I'm the audience, I'm very confused. He says, I want lower IQ, right? I want dumber people. I guess if you're looking to conquer people, yeah, dumber is easier because he lost.
The audience understood what I was saying about that.
Yeah.
So no, it's not about benevolence of Christians. Muslims don't need the benevolence of Christians to protect us. We've had a thriving civilization. And if
look at Andrew's face. Look at Andrew's face. He knows. He knows. Oh no.
Christians really want to win in this kind of argument, this kind of might makes right way, you're losing because of birth rates.
Okay. 40 love, yeah, for sure. But losing because of birth rates, that is a fixable issue, though. It's going to be painful. It's going to be hard, but that's more of a systemic issue, not a religious issue. So that's not IQ corollary. That's systemic and incentive. That's completely different argument. This guy he's not doing a good job. Dumber, he's easier to conquer. That's right. Yep. Can't fight back if you're not smart enough to realize you're getting fought.
Simple as. You're losing because Muslims are not only having more children, more people convert into Islam as opposed to leave it. Whereas
apostasy law, if you leave Islam, you are to be executed. That's how that works. And they voted for Hamas. Yep, that's true.
With Christianity, there's a massive swell of apostasy, people leaving Christianity. For what religion? Partly Islam, but the much bigger proportion, they're converting to atheism.
Atheism is not a religion. It's the lack of one.
Leaving Christianity. Why is that? Why? It's partly because of a secular education. So this is, maybe you need to appeal to the benevolence.
That's a different argument. Again, it's like, yes, Islam may not be the best, but have you considered that Christians are losing their religious people to atheism? But that wasn't the argument, nor is it the topic.
Of the atheists, the Jews,
moderator,
these other non-Christians, because your religion is bleeding out. I showed the chart.
Yep, definitely. What about
in terms of religious switching from Pew? Instead of grandstanding and trying to puff out your chest, address these real problems. Because there's not going to be a Christianity in 100 years if trends continue. And part of it is because of IQ. Ironically, part of it is because of IQ, because higher IQ is associated with higher atheism. So yeah, you're going to have people who will enjoy electric cars, maybe even flying cars and AI, but they're not going to believe in God.
We'll switch it over.
Before we let Andrew make his argument, it sounds to me like this guy is confusing midwits with actually intelligent people. Yeah, for real. Don't have to concede anything. Just ignore the argument. And then it's like incoherent rambling and he's filibustering. So it's like, dude.
What's really interesting here is just pointing out that once again, he's making the same exact appeal. The appeal, we're not making an appeal. We're not making an appeal. Islam has fantastic civilizations, as he's up here crying about how a nation of 10 million has enslaved all of them, according to him, right? How?
We are all conquered by the Jews. But oh my goodness. Can we stop yelling about the Jews and just address the argument? Which one's better for civilization, for society? Yeah, what's the word where you say something and then later you say something that completely undermines what you said earlier? Yeah, that's a built-in self-contradiction. It's undermining your own argument. So, yeah, contradictory viewpoints. Good grief.
How sophisticated can your civilization possibly be when 10 million people in the middle of a desert, right, are so technologically superior to the entirety of your civilization that even when your people groups have nuclear bombs, they...
Cognitive dissonance occurs whenever you hold two contravening viewpoints that are mutually exclusive and incompatible. It's the headache you get when you try to square a circle.
You don't feel threatened by it. This is a big problem. Again, this is not to talk about whether or not Jewish people are superior to Arab people, white people are superior to black people. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with one thing, which is the prompt. Which religion promotes a better society? Which religion produces better societies? And once again, I'm going to make this argument. It's pretty easy. If you think that people would have a preference, if you could ask them, which preference do you have? Do you have a preference to live in a society where 65% or more of the people are inbred, or do you prefer to live in a society where that's not the case? and you're a Christian, I think you would answer yes. And I think if you were an honest Muslim, you'd answer yes too. And why? Well, it's because you still want medicine for your kids. You still want to be able to drive on roads.
Yeah, that is his argument in a nutshell. And technological advancement obviously provides more privilege in a sense. Like, you get better things from a higher IQ society. And so where the argument really is right now is Andrew's saying that Islamic countries do not tend to have a high enough median IQ to maintain a civilization properly, which leads to sort of a permanent understatus or a lower sovereignty nation. Hence why they seem to blame the Jews for everything.
Roads, you still want to be able to have basic infrastructure, skilled laborers, professionals, things like this. And it's not that there's not many Muslims who are. There are. But there's not enough to meet the demand because they produce really stupid societies. And it's because of this reason. So it's like he just keeps on begging me to answer his questions about
it. Yeah, and what's funny about this is that all he had to do was say, yeah, fucking your cousin's bad. Don't fuck your cousin. And then Andrew could have had an actual back and forth with him, but no, he decided to plant his flag on the hill of fucking your cousin. Tried to sidestep it entirely. Why? Like, for real, all he had to do was concede the point. It's like, yeah, that's not good, but here's all the other good things. But instead he went to pure whataboutisms. Yeah, this is one where you'd have to go in the comments and see, like, where someone who is a Muslim actually says all you had to do was say cousin marriage is bad. And because I'm pretty sure Islamic doctrine does not mandate you marry your cousin. I'm willing to grant that. I don't know. But then the question becomes, why do they keep doing it?
About degeneracy, which has nothing to do with the debate. We're talking about which society is better.
Yeah, degeneracy has to do with society, bro. Degeneracy has a lot to do with society. It's like pretty much your entire platform talking about degeneracy ruining society. So like the technology that the West has achieved, you're saying that, well, look at all these Muslims, the biomass is at the mercy of all these technologies, the fighter jets, the nuclear weapons, whatever. But that technological...
Okay, this is going to be a long one. Does not speak to the matter, and the teaching is quite clear. Marriage between cousins is permissible by Islamic law. The Quran outlines forbidden degrees of kinships. Okay. Cousins are not included in that list because Islamic law only specifically forbidden. Cousin marriage falls into the permissible category. Historically, many early Muslim communities practice it. Muhammad himself and relatives. Oh, that's why they do it. Oh, that's why he doesn't want to go against it. That makes a lot of sense now. Interesting.
Progress is victimizing all of us. We're all a victim. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu. We all are facing this massive transhumanist behemoth, this hegemony, and it's threatening to destroy the human race. Do you see the interview that Peter Thiel did with the New York Times? And he's talking about like
yes, Peter Thiel.
And
Hold on, Peter Thiel, the creator of Palantir, right? And he's freaking out about Peter Thiel being a transhumanist. He's just a rich dude with an opinion, honestly, and he's making a surveillance thing. I mean, this was bound to happen regardless. We can't really do anything about it. The governments want it, so, like, just because he wants a specific outcome doesn't mean that he's going to be able to influence policy enough to get to his point where we can build human psychology like a Lego set. Yeah, tech's not even close to there yet.
He's being asked by the interviewer, do you think the human race continuing is a good thing? And then Peter Thiel, he's this billionaire, actually paused for a second, and it took him a while to answer. And when he finally did answer, he said that, well, you know, the human being in its current form, I don't know if that's something worth preserving. Because they're transhumanists. They want to see a future where human beings are bionic, you have genetic engineering to actually have.
Peter Thiel wants cyberpunk. Valid criticism. What does this have to do with the argument?
Have tailor-made babies based on people's preferences. You have uploading the consciousness to the cloud with Neuralink, Elon Musk's Neuralink, all of these crazy technologies that are going to be imposed on us. Remember the whole thing, you will own nothing and you will...
Okay. Yeah, no, it's people aren't smart enough to get to that point where they're uploading their brains to the cloud. Also, Neuralink, from my understanding, as it currently is output only. Like they can't input anything, and it's less of it's like having a controller in your brain. It's not uploading your mind. It's yeah. Why? Yeah. This is such a non sequitur. I don't know why the moderator is allowing it.
Be happy, get in the pod, eat the bugs. Remember all of this agenda, especially after COVID, that they're rolling out. That's because of technology. That's because of high IQ people like Yuval Harari, this Jewish genius who is telling, hey, you don't need to own anything to be happy. We're just going to give you porn and we're going to give you drugs and you're
Can I stop him now, please? This has veered so far off the topic. Gosh, help me. I feel like I'm going crazy. Like, what? Yeah, it really is like Solution 9. Oh, almost fell asleep. This guy is spiraled out to the point where he's talking about Peter Thiel and transhumanism and like how a high IQ leads to that. And yeah, that is straight up spurging. Like, I don't get his argument here. It sounds so stupid. By the way, we would have hit the 5-hour limit on this already. Yeah. Andrew looks kind of just done too. I'm done. Like, I would just ask the moderator, do I really have to address this because this is so far out of it? Yeah.
You're going to live in the pod, and that's going to be the future. That affects all of us. So it's not just Muslims who are the victims of this technological future. We are all victims of that dystopia.
Let us point out here that this is very important again, that everywhere Islam goes, regardless of the people group, the IQ goes down because of this. Let us also point out that that's not racial. That's every group. Every group that goes into anything to do with Islam, you end up with the IQ collectively lowering due to inbreeding. In order to oppose these very same technologies that he's proposing, transhumanism, things like that, you have to be able to make structured arguments, have reason. You have to be able to actually engage with these people. And if you can't do that, if it's the case that they have such a technocracy full of phaser guns, you got no fucking chance anyway. You have to at least have a high enough IQ to protect your people group from the very people you are claiming right now have a technological edge, which is Star Trek compared to the Apollo 13. So if that's the case, he still hasn't.
Did he say Star Trek? Like racetrack? It's Star Trek. Star Trek. Like a journey. Bad, Andrew. Bad. That'll be 5 boops.
Told you how having a low IQ is actually going to demonstratably help their people group at all oppose these types of technologies when the very secularists they claim are just gaining an IQ, because us dumb Christians, we just can't help it. We become secularists the second we get too smart, right? That's a big problem for them again. They would still need to value IQ being raised just enough to protect their people group, even if it was the case that Christians became secularists, even if that was the case. So always his argument goes back to low IQ equals benevolency of other people group, because you can't defend your people groups. You can't defend your peoples. You can't do it. We have an ocean between us, and only one of us is capable of attacking the other. And that's because of the massive distinction in technological prowess and organizational skills, which you're going to find with intelligence. And it's not a thing which is valued by Islam by his own admission. How could we not have better societies based on that? How?
Switch it over.
Again, the benevolence argument.
Okay. Are they just going to keep going in circles for the rest of the time? Because I'm actually getting sick of listening to this guy talk. That pause. I know. But man, I have no idea what else to make of this. I'm just kind of like unlocked here. He has no argument. Okay, so they're just going to circle this for the rest of the time. All circles. Okay. So they've hit the infinite regress. It's turtles all the way down from here. Gotcha. Well, I don't know if I want to watch the rest of this. Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch the rest of this because I like Andrew Wilson. Don't get me wrong. My issue with watching debates is watching opponents of people I like. Wait, what? Is this like a Nux video type thing, or hold on? Oh. No, it's not Nux that's covering it. Where are you seeing this? Is it on X? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. So the Trump administration has announced 6 interagency agreements shifting management of billions of grants from K-12 aid and student loans to Native American programs, campus, child care, to departments like Labor, Interior, Health and Human Services, and State. Education Secretary Linda McMahon called it a step to cut federal bureaucracy, reduce red tape, and better align programs to workforce needs amidst a shortage of over 700,000 skilled jobs each year. Okay, wow. That's kind of huge. I guess I can... well, Josh, if you want to get the press secretary thing for me, like her address, the YouTube video, and send that to me, we can save that for tomorrow, I guess. That's actually kind of impressive. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I do think Suno made some pretty good background music, though. Yeah, AI background music. Okay, well, that is very interesting. Got this Reagan clip going on here. Oh man. Okay, that's the White House. Perfect. I'll just save this as a tab, and we'll cover it later. Close that one out. It basically is, yeah, because it's going to be a husk of what it is. Okay. Well, I think I'll end here, and then we'll see how things go. I spent so long on that stupid debate. My goodness, that guy was, oof. Yeah, I hope so. That'd be kind of huge and very beneficial. All right. Well, get some sleep, Josh, and I'll send you the VOD. Just send me online what email you want me to send it to, or if you want me to make a Google Drive and upload it there so you can download it. It kind of is. It's basically making it a nothing. All right, time to end. It's going to be abrupt. Bye-bye.